How's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the URC, the last game almost before New Year's for these two sides. Still one just around the corner for the Stormers, but the Bulls, this is their chance to make an impact right at the end of 2023, and what better way to do it than to face off against the Stormers. Cape Town Stadium should be an absolutely epic game. But looking through at the table, this is a must-win game for the Stormers at home. The Bulls sitting comfortably in third. They could actually possibly put themselves right up to number one. If they do get this game right, they would have to win it with a bonus point for scoring 4 or more tries. But if they are able to do that, they would be sitting ahead of the Glasgow Warriors. Whereas for the Stormers, they're in 10th. This is uncharted territory for a side that last year was so dominant. The year prior to that, won the URC. They need to start climbing the ranks, and I feel like this is maybe the momentum swing of a game that they need, but they're up against a very, very classy Bulls side. Could be tough day at the office. But looking through at the Stormers starting lineup, it will be Satoli, Joseph Dweber and Johan Nidling Fouché as the front row. Andre Smith and Ruben van Heerden will be there at number 5. Dion Fourie, the turnover machine, he is at 6. Ben Jason Dixon at 7 coming into the starting lineup, and also Diamani at number 8. Now last year's URC, he was a standout. This year he's been a little bit quiet, but he's still shown his moments, and when he really gets it right, he can be one of the most dangerous players out there on the field. No Evan Ruiz as well, I should mention, for this game, due to an injury. Paul de Vet and Mani Lebok, the 9-10 combination. Duplessis at number 12 with Ruan now on his outside. And number 13, Lelian Zas out on the left wing. Hudsonberg out on the right. And Damien Valimza to close out the starting lineup. Now the Stormers, they had their last minute thriller up against La Rochelle. That was the first game that we had seen Lebok and Valimza back at the helm. And it took a little bit of time to adapt, but when they started to find their momentum, that is when they were the most dangerous. So I feel like this game, now that they've got one under their sleeve, now that they've had a bit of time with the side, perhaps this is where the Stormers can start finding that momentum. But they are up against, like I said, a tough side in the Bulls. Stennekamp at number 1, Aka van der Merwe at 2, and Wilco Low as the number 3. So I would say scrum advantage is going to be a very hard one to pick here, because both sides have little parts of their front rows that can be extremely dangerous, but it's whoever works out better on Cape Town Stadium's ground that will be that little bit more dominant. Swanepoel at number 4, Ludwig will be there as the number 5. Marco van Staden, also a turnover machine. I think that him versus Dion Fourie is always phenomenal to watch. Either way, someone's getting 1 or 2 turnovers for their side. Unrik Low at number 7, and Honeycomb once again gets a start as the number 8. Ambros Papier and Johan Hussen will be the 9-10 combo. So Hussen versus Lebok. That was actually a conversation that happened before the World Cup. Who would get that fly half roll opportunity? Now Lebok got the nod. Hussen missed out. Can he push himself up the rankings a little bit more? David Creel in the midfield alongside Stedman Hans, Kanan Moody, Kurtley Aronsa and Willie Leroux. And I am not reading out the Springboks starting lineup. That is the back three that the Bulls have under their sleeve. And that is why they're such a hard side to beat when they've got all 3 of those men out there on the field. But in the chat, we have got the Hello Kiwi Lads. Greetings from South Africa. Says Ashley, welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. And love to live. Bulls by 10. And I Hamish, this time it's serious. No joking around for me. This is the biggest game since the World Cup. Says Cool Story, bro. This game has a big match feel. And there is a reason I got up at 5:45 a.m. to be able to start this live stream. And it is because these two sides have quite a rich history, but they also just love playing each other because they've just had so many great battles over the years. You look at some of the close score lines from the last couple of years of the URC, the fact that this one has taken place in South Africa, in Cape Town, and then the Bulls at Loftus, of course, they'd love to be able to get that other side of momentum after the New Year's break. We have got there Marina Hamish. Just wanted to wish you guys Merry Xmas. Arahanui, brother. Says Natikahu, right back at you, mate. Of course, very close to Christmas. In fact, 24 hours from now here in New Zealand, we will be on Christmas Day. For you guys in South Africa, of course, you've still got a little bit longer to wait. Only the 23rd at the moment. Merry Xmas, South Africa from New Zealand. Says Natikahu. And also we get that hi, all in Hamish, says Robert in there as well. And I should mention that the brilliant players do not stop in the starting lineups. The benches as well could be where this game is won. Andre Hugo Fente at number 16. Alongside that, Clayton Blomekes at number 23. The Stormers number 23, who unfortunately didn't get enough game time, I don't feel, last year. in the back end of the competition. They decided to give the guys who hadn't had too many minutes the chance ahead of the informed Blomaki. So I hope he'll be able to have an impact near the end of this game. Alistair Vermaak and Brock Harris, I think, will add quite a nice stability to the Stormers scrum. Willie Engelbrecht and Morabe, the two other big loose forward trios for the Bulls. Martin Zema and Mornay Smith. Chris Smith coming off the bench as well. There were talks last week in the Bulls game that maybe he was taken off at the wrong time. Maybe they gave him too much time, but at the end of the day, he wasn't the one who missed the kick that could have won them the game. Instead, that was, of course, the man who replaced him. I almost said a sentence, but excited for this match. Sebastian de Klerk at 23, Keegan Johannes at number 21. But looking through at the previous fixtures for these two sides, first of all, the Stormers. They had a tough game up against Munster. I feel like that was the switch that needed to happen because they realised we aren't winning games, and we certainly aren't winning games without scoring points, scoring tries. How do we fix that? They did it up against Cardiff, although they were still defeated, but 24 on the board looks a whole lot better than 3. Some would argue, but 24, you've done quite a bit and you've still lost, but at least you've got those tries under their belt. They were able to beat Zebra 31 points to 7, losing to the Leicester Tigers in the Champions Cup. But this game here, I don't know how they did it. I don't know whether or not, it seemed like they were going to win in terms of the stats, but they dug deep and they managed to get that last-minute try, the conversion as well. Marnie Libok got his moment, and 21 points to 20, defeating the defending champions of the Champions Cup, and that has to feel good for the Stormers. Definitely after, like I mentioned, sitting 10th in the URC, waiting for their reign to continue. Maybe it's just starting up again. But then for the Bulls, in terms of their recent games, they were defeated by Edinburgh, but since then, they've been in some pretty decent form, having a couple wins in a row in the URC up against Connacht, as well as the Sharks. That game happened, and no one really understood how it happened with a 34-point difference between the two sides. Don't get me wrong, the Bulls are a brilliant side, but the Sharks, normally those games go down to the wire, and it was anything but. Unfortunately, just one from the get-go for the VODACOM Bulls. Then they beat Saracens. Once again, a very good side in Europe, taken down by a South African team. Lyon's game, right down to the wire, but missing out by 1 point. So it's as if last week, if it's anything to go by, the Stormers were the team that were able to just pull it through by 1. The Bulls, the side that just narrowly missed out by 1. Could we see a 1-point decider here in Cape Town just before the new year? I think a lot of people would like to see it, although I would have to say a lot of people will be nervous if that is the way that it sits. Go Stormers, says Ashley, and welcome to all the New Zealanders. We respect you guys big time. Enjoy the game, says Johan Labaskakni and the chat as well. And yeah, hopefully you guys are excited for this matchup. At the end of the day, like I said, it's the last game for the Bulls of 2023. They've started the year on a pretty high note. They're already sitting 3rd. They have a chance of going to 1st if they win this game with a winning bonus point. For the Stormers, the most they can make up at the moment. Now, I should mention there are still a few more games that are happening just around the corner in the URC. But the Stormers, believe it or not, they can go to 5th here. They can go ahead of Munster if they win this game with a bonus point of their own. Now, even if they just win this game, they will actually advance right up to 6th. So for now, this is pretty much do or die for the Stormers. There is a big difference between sitting in 10th at the end of the year and sitting somewhere up here near that home quarterfinal spot. And of course, if you have that home quarterfinal, you do have a big advantage compared to the other sides. We've seen home field advantage be crucial for some teams throughout this URC competition. Speaking of the URC, we've still got 3 more games that are taking place of this round in the URC. As you can see, it is Derby round. We already had some Irish and some Scottish derbies yesterday. Munster versus Leinster. That is one a lot of people are looking forward to. We are hoping to cover that one on the channel. It should be an awesome game. And then also I should mention there is another game just on New Year's. That is between the Stormers and the Sharks. We are hoping to cover that one as well, but it does depend where we are. We might actually be on holiday at that point, but I hope not. Hope we will be able to watch that game beforehand. Go Jake White, my man, says cool story, bro. And yeah, the coaches will be feeling a lot of pressure because the Bulls are in a box seat and the Stormers are in a position they're not used to being in. Same could be said about the Sharks in regards to the overall table. Like I showed it just before. As you can see, the Lions are 9th. They're doing extremely well for their season. Sharks are somewhere about here. I think they're about 13th or 14th at the moment, which is uncharted territory. And of course, as the games go on, they want to keep on climbing. You want to have that home field advantage in the quarterfinals. Playing a game in South Africa as a South African side is such an advantage than if you have to head to, let's say, Ireland or Scotland or anywhere else overseas that you do have to play that match. You definitely want to be on home soil and you want to have that home crowd cheering behind you. Merry Christmas, says Right Time Down Under. Merry Christmas to you too. And go the Stormers, says Lancaster fam and the chat as well. But do let me know your score predictions, ladies and gentlemen. We have talked about how this could be a very close game. I will show you the starting lineups once again for anyone who hasn't seen them. For the Stormers, Satoli, Weber and Nedeling Fouché will be the front row. Smith and Van Heerden as the locking duo. Dion Forey, Ben Jason Dixon and Diamani as the loose forward trio. Paul de Vet and Mani Lebok. Combination that could work pretty well. And Lebok, after that last minute kick up against La Rochelle, he will be full of confidence, full of enthusiasm, and perhaps a few unpredictable plays could be coming just around the corner. In this contest in the midfield, it is going to be Jean-Luc Duplessis as well as Ruan Nel, Lillian Zass out on one wing, Hudsonberg out on the other, and Damien Willemse to slot in as the number 15 for the Bulls. In their starting lineup, Stennekamp, Achafa Namerva, as well as Wilco Low, Swanepoel and Ludwig as the locking duo. Mako van Staren, he was a menace in the last game, trying absolutely everything he could to get those turnovers. Now, he was pretty unfortunate to not get too many of them, but in this game up against Dion Forey, I think it's just going to be a battle of two guys wanting to one-up the other. And that can lead to some pretty awesome moments. It can also lead to a few penalties. I feel like one of them could end up with a yellow card by the end of the game, but could see a few turnovers along the way as well. Heinrich Low at number 7 and Honeycomb to close out the Bulls 4-pack. Ambros Papier and Johan Goosen will be the 9-10 combo. David Creel at number 12 with Stedman Hans on its outside at 13. Kanan Moody, Kutli Arnse and Willie LaRue. What a back three to have in a URC contest, and that is where I believe the Bulls have got a little bit of an advantage. Now, I say a little bit because, of course, Lillian Zass, Hudsonberg and Damien Willemse are not exactly a bad combination to have. But I would also say where the Bulls have the advantage in the 11, 14 and 15 jersey as a whole, I would say that the Paul de Vet and Mani Lebok combination would have an advantage over Ambros Papier and Johan Goosen. So there are individual spots on the field that both sides have the momentum, and then in other spots, there's just that little bit of an edge to the other side. And I'm looking forward to seeing who takes that edge, who uses that to their advantage, and who makes the most of this game's opportunity. Go the Stormers, says Ashley, and go good evening, Hamish, says Caspian, welcome in, and morning, afternoon, evening all, says Mimania. And the chat as well, Morena Hamish and our beautiful Kiwi lads Farnell from Auckland, New Zealand, support our awesome brother, like and subscribe, says Nazia. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. There is a chance that you might be the last subscriber that hits that button before the new year. So that's kind of cool. That's a terrible promo, isn't it? That's like, yeah. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, though. We have plenty more of the URC, the Champions Cup, you name it, it's going to be on the channel in the near future. The Sevens as well. We're going to see the Blitzbox bounce back, and Moody will move to the right wing as he mostly plays over there, says Luke. Although Kurtley Arnse, I feel like the benefit that they've got is those two actually have the ability of playing either wing. And so there are times, similar to what we saw for Edinburgh yesterday, how maybe in that case it was Duan van der Merwe actually went out to the wing that Darcy Graham was on, just to be able to add a little bit more size. So perhaps they have a little bit of a floating wing role for these two in this contest. Will the game show? Says Forresty. Unfortunately, due to licensing, any match footage or audio gets you taken straight off YouTube, which would be a terrible way to start the new year. But we are going to be doing the commentary all throughout the contest, and the game is just around the corner from starting, ladies and gents. So we are just about into the action, and it should be an absolutely awesome game. Juan has said the Stormers, and there as well, and by the looks of it, he's got a picture of a Springbok as the profile. Of course, a huge amount of Springbok players in this contest, and I assume this game's are going to be a tad more action than yesterday's Scottish scenario. I hope so. Unfortunately, the weather did really dampen, literally and metaphorically, that game between the two Scottish sides. Glasgow picked it up near the end of the contest, but yeah, there just weren't as many tries as some thought that there would have been. How has your week been, Hamish, says Caspian? It's flown by. I swear it was only like 2 days ago that we were doing the Champions Cup last weekend, and we are already here now, ready for another contest. The Bulls make their way out onto the Cape Town field, though. Unrik Lowe, who will be the VODACOM Bulls captain. Tell you what, it's going to be an epic atmosphere when the home side make their way out onto the field once more. Go the Bulls, says Samuel. And also we have got how's the weather in Cape Town looking, Hamish? It is looking very nice. It's looking like, I'd say probably overcast is the best way of describing it. Of course, though, it is an evening game, so it's going to be a little bit overcast at the end of the day. But, yeah, it does look very nice for rugby. A lot better than the rainy conditions we had yesterday on the game we were covering. We see there it is going to be Jean-Luc Duplessis leading the side out for his 50th cap. Stormers, the crowd is electric at the moment for this match, and you can tell that is how it's going to be all throughout this game. They have been waiting for something to cheer about the Stormers fan base, and this is now the game that they have to be their loudest, that they have to get behind their side the most, because the Stormers come in as slight underdogs in this contest, even though they're at Cape Town, and that tells you exactly how strong the Bulls have been throughout 2023. But the Stormers, they're ready to redeem themselves. They want that URC title just like they did in the opening year of the comp. And I, Hamish, think the Bulls will do it. Says Arthur there. So I think either of these sides have more than enough ability of being able to walk away with the victory. It is just that big question, who is going to show up on the day and who is going to make the most of this chance. Because this is one of those games, I think there's probably going to be more eyes on this contest than some of the other matches combined for these sides throughout the year. Looks like the Bulls will be kicking off from right to left as we are just about to get underway, ladies and gentlemen, for the last game of 2023 for the Bulls. For the Stormers, their first South African derby before the new year. And it is kicked off high and long and beautifully taken by Damian Willemse just outside of the Stormers 22. Now back into the pocket. Mani Libbok waiting patiently, looks to put this one across field in the air. Not taken cleanly by either side. And the ball does roll into touch. They are saying it will be a Stormers home line out. And also, oh shucks, and it's Christmas Eve here in New Zealand, says Nuzzy Williams. It is indeed, yeah. The 24th of December. I have no idea where this year went, let alone this month. But we've had a World Cup. We've had a huge amount of action around the world of sport. And I feel like 2024 is just going to be as busy, if not maybe busier, with the amount of different comps that are there. But Villy LaRue, beautifully taken again. Both fullbacks working hard and both Springboks, of course, taken to those number 15 jerseys. Hi, everyone, says Chloe. Welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. And Bros Papier passes it off to Swanepoel, who's throwing backwards in a physical tackle. Oh, okay, this looks like maybe a little bit of an injury here for Ben Jason Dixon. He put in a big hit, and I think he might have taken a head knock in the process. And that is the last thing the Stormers want at this stage of the match. Only 1 minute in and already looking like they might have an injured player. Cross kick from Villy LaRue. Kutli Arnsa. I think he actually had the pace. He just misread where that ball was going to be landing. So it does bounce and go into touch. But early, I guess, unorthodox play from both of the sides. Mani Libbok, he's been given the role as the man to put the up and unders to the sky. And Villy LaRue, he's decided he's going to try and counter that by doing a little bit of stylistic matching up with Mani Libbok, except trying them as cross kicks rather than the bombs. We have got there. Hi, Chloe. Glad you're back. And also we get there. Hey, Chloe. And hi, Hamish. Says Ryan. And they're welcome in. Right, Ben Jason Dixon. I think it was a knock on the neck by the looks of it. The way that he stayed down, though, made it seem like he might have taken a head knock. I think it might have just been the stinger on the shoulder. But like I mentioned, the last thing you want at this stage of the match is already having one of your injuries, because the Stormers, they have packed their bench with a lot of punch. They've got the 6-2 split. The reason they've done that is to try and be physical later on in the contest. But if they had to make a sub already, you kind of lose that impact to a certain extent. But yeah, just really, that looked like he closed his eyes. I think that they might actually have to have a look at him and possibly give him an HIA. They might be assessing him currently. He's still kind of shaking out his neck. It's going to be a deliberate knock on from Unrik Lowe on the halfway line. The captain of the Bulls, and now Mani Libbok, from 48 metres out, has decided instead of kicking for the posts, they want to kick for the corner. And I like this mindset from the Stormers. They know that with them sitting in 10th, winning by 4 or winning games and getting 4 points on the board, that's all well and good. But it's going to be those extra points that you can get for 4 or more tries that are actually going to boost you up in the rankings that little bit more and give you that chance of a home quarterfinal. Hamish, where's the hat? The hat is to my side. Of course, the Santa hat from yesterday. We might put it on at halftime. We will see how it goes. But now off to the left-hand side, beautiful run forward from Hudsonburg for the Stormers, who are 22 metres out from the opposition line now. And Ruben van Jeren makes it now 20. Paul de Vet, Mani Libok, quick hands to Ruan now. Mr. Consistency in the midfield. Johan Nilling Fouchier now charges at the line. At the moment, the Stormers, if they can get a few phases together, that will also build the confidence. It was something that was lacking in the early stages of the URC campaign, just not quite able to keep the ball in hand, making mistakes and giving away penalties. But it seems like a new Stormers side is just around the corner. But that is going to be the penalty now in favour of the Stormers. This one's straight out in front, about maybe 20 metres or so. It's going to be up against Marco van Staden. This one should be a nice easy 3-pointer for Mani Libok. He does point to the post and says we will have that. Thank you very much. Who do you choose as your 10, Richie Mo'unga or Mani? Completely depends on the style of your team, because it's always said that one player doesn't make a team, and depending on what type of tactics your team uses would depend on Richie Mo'unga or Mani Libok being the best choice for your number 10 in that team type thing. Like, if, for instance, this is a tricky one, but let's say your team was in France and you had a attacking backline, for instance. I feel like Mani Libok's unpredictability would work kind of similar to Finn Russell's at Racing 92, how that would be pretty handy to be able to have. Whereas Richie Mo'unga in Japan, I think, actually stylistically works a lot better than Mani Libok would because of more attacking running from Richie Mo'unga. Does that make sense? That kick has gone over. 3 points on the board now for the Stormers, and they have got themselves a nice lead at home. They will want to keep on extending it. They wanted the 7 rather than the 3, but they will take those points. Seeing as they are straight out in front, set fire to me, says Ken Fish. And also thank you, ref, says Ashley. And morning, Hamish, says Potomic. Welcome in and go the Stormers, says Ashley. And the chat as well, but it is kicked off now. Beautifully taken. Again, just outside of their 22. Like I mentioned earlier on, the fact that there's no rain makes this so much nicer for these two sides to be able to play their running rugby that they want to. Man, those South Africans can kick, says Nazi Williams, and also Merry Christmas, says Yvonne right back at you. I did see your message on Instagram. I haven't been able to reply just yet, but I did see that you said you're going to, is it Leinster versus Ulster is the match that you're going to? That is going to be in touch just, directly into touch. So that is actually going to mean that the Bulls are on attack now, just outside of the 22. Go, boys, go, says Gary in there. And yep, says Yvonne there as well. But I should mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It is greatly appreciated. You'll be there for this contest. It's going to, of course, be an epic one going hopefully right down to the wire. But Aka van der Merwe now with his first throw, and it is successful for the Bulls. Beautifully picked up. Oh, not straight. It was well picked up by Wilco Lowe, but then they said, yeah, that is a little bit wonky. I should also mention, they've just actually said there's a strong wind at the moment in Cape Town. What's the table look like, Hammy, says Spider-Mick? While we've got this first scrum setting, we will show you the table. So as you can see, the Bulls are actually sitting quite comfortably on on third place. Now, if they win this game with a bonus point, they will be first on the URC table. And then depending on how that Leinster versus Munster game goes, they could actually keep that spot in first place. Alongside that, Stormers in 10th. If they win this game and they get a bonus point, they actually move up to 5th. If no bonus point but a win, they'll be in 6th place heading into their game next week up against the Sharks. So there's a lot on the line for these two sides. A chance to climb at least 2 spots for both of them if they play a very good game of rugby here. Now a nice back line from the Stormers. Looks like Damien Valimza has opted to go for the kick in behind, and it's a nice one, but it will go out just outside of the 22-metre line, but they will go right back for the penalty. Damien Willemse not happy about it. I love that you always got a good South African support on here. Says Nuz Williams. We've covered so many games of South African rugby on the channel, whether it was the Curry Cup a couple years ago that we were doing each and every match that we could. We've covered a majority of the URC involving the South African sides. In fact, we've covered it since they joined the competition, which is pretty awesome. Great analysis there, Hamish. By that logic, Damien should have been the all-time great in Japan alongside Cheslin, says Razor. And also come on the Bulls, says Ryan. And Bulls all the way, says Helen. And I'm home to Ireland, says Yvonne. There as well, Bulls all the way. Says Caleb, not straight, yes, Stormers pushed them. Says Gary, and that kick has not found touch from the... Oh, no, just half an inch going into touch. Looks like Villy LaRue having an argument with the touch judge. The normal occurrence, unfortunately for him. And Bulls' mistakes, infringements, and penalties might cost them, says Mimania. And it is interesting because that is the same thing that we mentioned for the Stormers maybe about 4 weeks ago when they were really struggling up against Munster. It might have actually been 5 weeks ago, in fact, because they just couldn't get things right. And now it seems like they've had that time to reflect on what went wrong and how they can fix that. And they've just looked like a much more dangerous side since then. Mani Libok passes off to Damien Willemse. Tried to get back to his feet, wasn't able to do so. So they will go back for the original. I believe it's an original penalty. That's going to be, no, sorry, a knock-on by the sounds of it. Or is it? Sounds like they're a little bit confused. Okay, it's a high tackle against Johan Goosen. In that case, you've got a huge South African following, says Arthur. Where's the ref from? I believe he is also South African. Yeah, I think that's a South African accent I can hear. And Stormers, go boys, go, says Ashley Norton. And they have decided to now go for the corner again. So even though they took that earlier 3 points, that was the only time that they wanted to. And now with the repeated infringements from the Bulls, they know if they keep on pushing the corner, then maybe... Yeah, see, that's just a dumb late shot from Johan Roos and Mani Libok. He got rid of the ball. They actually called it as a high tackle, and I would disagree. I hit him on the shoulder. It was more of a no-arms wrap, as well as just a little bit late. But... yeah, not something you want to be giving away this early on in a contest. Only 10 minutes in, and the Stormers full momentum. That should almost be a penalty advantage as well for taking Ruben van Heeren in the air. Now the rolling maul, working quite nicely for the Stormers at this point. They're being told to use it once, but they do creep just that little bit closer to the Stormers try line. It has been actually popped out the back. Mani Libok manages to get a Damien Willemse with the drop kick attempt, and it's gone over. Interesting, but it works. A little bit more of a lead caused for the Stormers there. Seeing that the ball was loose, decided not to try and back his back line. I think he might have just been apologising to one of his teammates there, just saying sorry about that, but it was there for the taking. They were retreating as well, but just sitting in the pocket very nicely, straight down the middle of the sticks. I'm wearing my Bulls shirt, says Ryan, and also we can go to the Stormers, says Bavani. And there, I'm not aware who was the ref today. I suppose it's Marius van der Westhuizen. I'm not actually too sure who the referee is. We'll find out at halftime who it is, if no one says it by then. Oh, yes, it is Alfie. Okay, so it is van der Westhuizen. But now nice pass out wide to quickly Arnse. He's cut him back inside off the wing. Hudson-Berg manages to stop him in his tracks. 25 metres out the line, the Bulls with their first real attack of this game. It's taken 11 minutes, but once they get started, normally it is hard to stop them. Short ball from Villy LaRue. My voice is starting to go already. We've only done 2 live streams this weekend. I feel like I'm out of practice from when we did the World Cup. We've got a new member on the channel as well. Shireen, thank you very much. Put in that membership button and 13-0 start. Says Bavani. Loose ball for the Stormers. They have been able to clean that one up, and Kutli Arnse getting right on to Damien Willemse, and that will be the penalty in favour of the Bulls. Here come the trouble Bulls, all marching 10. Stormers back chatting, and that is the last thing you want at this stage. It might have been Damien Willemse who was guilty of giving the ref a bit of stick, and because of it, it's made it a little bit of an easier kick for Johan Goosen to put the ball into the corner. In these North versus South derbies, every points count, says Sam, exactly right. And both of these sides do not want to be the team that lose this derby. Definitely this close to Christmas. The Bulls, this is their last game of 2023. this is one of those ones that if they win it, they could be sitting number one on the table at the end of the year. They have decided to go with a short rolling maul. They've got the advantage and they're over there, the Bulls. It will be Ludwig who closes over the try line, and they are now on the board in this match. Looks like the Stormers and the Bulls supporters, they were having a bit of a slapping contest on the sideline. And the box kicks have gotten better and better, says Benito, and we've been saying it all throughout the World Cup, in fact, even prior to the World Cup. It's just about building his confidence. Like, the problem that a lot of people had with Mane Libbok was in the big matches, unfortunately, he wasn't quite able to step up with that kicking tee at times. Like, I still feel like what he offers on attack is way more significant because of the amount of try assists that he gets. But those extra three-pointers, you know, he'd miss 2 kicks in a game and people would just destroy him. You know, they'd say he doesn't deserve the jersey and everything along those lines. But then the next week he goes out and has a man-of-the-match performance and they all say, oh, no, we didn't say that last week. He's great. And then he struggles the next week. They go back to slandering him. So it's a tough job being a fly half, definitely when you have got that kicking tee. But I think Mane Libbok, as he gets more confidence and as people just back him more, he will get better. And I agree with that. It's just correct, says Chloe. And come on, the Stormers focus, boys. But I should mention that kick has missed away to the right-hand side, so that will keep the score at 6 points to 5 after only around 13 minutes in this north-south derby. But beautiful rolling maul. Round the side, what about Valimza at 10 for the box? Is he the man of the future or Libbok? Libbok 100%. Valimza does not play well at 10 for the Springboks, unfortunately. And that's not saying he doesn't play well in their lineup. Playing 15, phenomenal. Works perfectly with Mane Libbok in terms of the stylistic matchup that they seem to want to bring. And of course, the fact that they do it for the Stormers each and every week, the chemistry between those two is off the charts. So if Libbok is available, you put him at 10 or Pollard, depending on, of course, who's there. But if you had to choose if Valimza or Libbok was 10, you'd go Libbok 10, Valimza 15. What was his position is Valimza playing? He's playing 15 in this game, which I think is a lot better for him. And he was playing 12 last week, and to be honest, it didn't quite give him that opportunity that he would have liked. Valimza 15, not in fly half, better from the back attacking, says Werner, exactly right. And also we have there the Bulls, says Albert, and Valimza is better at 12 or 15, and Libbok 10, says Sam. Now, ball about to be thrown in. Can anyone remember? I know that I should be able to, but who played 15 last week up against La Rochelle for the Stormers? Because I know they played Valimza at 12 so that they could put someone else at 15. I can't quite remember who it was that they went with. Ben Loader was out on the right wing, I know that much. He's not actually playing in this game, which is a bit of a surprise after how well he's been playing throughout this year. I think 15, says Naz Williams, and correct between Pollard and Mane, says Chloe. And Andre Smith, nice carry forward, and Ruben van Geeren. Oh, this looks like an injury for Andre Smith. Might have taken something on the nose. Pollard's still first choice, I think. Warakalan, that's the one who was playing 15. And to be honest, he did struggle, didn't he? A little bit. So I think that's why they've decided to go back to Valimza this week as well, just to see how well that can work with Valimza and Pollard. As the combo quick tap actually taken there by Johan Goosen to kick it in behind, looking for the 50-22. It's curling towards the touchline, but just staying in the play was Mane Libbok. He's inside of his 22, gets it across to Lilian. Zasu is driven down in a very physical tackle by the VODACOM Bulls defence. Now Joseph Dweber driven backwards. You don't see that too often, but great body position from Swanepoel to get him just that little bit further back. We have good there, and from Cape Town, but a big Bull supporter, says Albert. So this game's probably, I guess, the best of both worlds for yourself, because either way, I guess you've got a little bit of excitement for whoever's winning. And Warakalant was 15 last week, says Mario, and Warakalant was 15 last week, says Benito. And that's why, but now Kane and Moody running forward. Another player who's missing from this game, I should mention, is Herschel Yankees. They did go with Paul DeVette, the starting lineup instead, and Dweber got knocked, says Razor. Yeah, like I said, it's not very often you see him going backwards. Little kick him behind from him, Bros Papia. Kick forward by Kutli Aronson, just like he did for the Box. He will score again and again. And that is another try for the away side. We'll get there, come on the Bulls. We need a win with a bonus point. Says Alfie. Oh, Hang on, we got a double blow of the whistle. That's either because two players are pushing each other or because they want to go upstairs and check this one. Trying to listen to what the ref said. Didn't hear him too well. Valimza is better at 15. Lebock is a much better option at 10. His kicking is improving all the time. Remember, France was Lebock for the World Cup. Loader is injured last week. Lamp played at 15. What's the extent of Ben Loader's injury? Sam, do let me know, because he's been... he got injured. Was it shoulder last week? Now that you've said that, it's kind of refreshed my brain. Yeah, what extent is he in terms of injury? No try, says Gary. Oh, he is lethal, that kid, says Razor. And hold on a second. Yeah, we're going upstairs, ladies and... Oh, no. Now, the referees were chatting, but they seem to be all right with the try at this point. But Johan Goosen now to line up this kick 17 minutes into the contest. And this is to give them a 6-point lead over the Stormers, who haven't been able to score themselves a try as of yet, even though they've been kicking for the corner. Just haven't quite been rewarded. But Johan Goosen this time, away to the left-hand side. And it is now going to make the score 10 points to 6. So Mani Lebock sitting 2 from 2. 1 from 1, as well as Valimza getting the drop kick. And then alongside that, Kutle Arendse scoring the try for the Bulls, as well as Renard Ludwig. So they have got the 2 tries unconverted, whereas the Stormers have got the penalty and the drop kick. So quite different from these two sides. Do you know that Moody is 20? It's unbelievable how young some of the current Springbok squad is and how bright of a future they've got. Oh, that was almost an awkward landing for Swanepoel, but they have been able to claim him nicely, and it is actually a penalty to the Stormers. Side entry on the far side. I think that's against Wilco Lowe. And oh yes, says Chloe, and yes, and go Jake. Jake has never lost a World Cup. Says Cool Story Brian, how can I stream? Depending on whereabouts you are in the world will depend on your options. In South Africa, it is on DSTV. And elsewhere, you've got the option of URC TV. New Zealand, it's on TVNZ+. Looks like they are going to take on the shot now with Mani Lebock. This will make it just the 1-point game. Now, I mentioned both of these sides last week. They did only have 1-point contest. Now, the Stormers were able to beat the defending champions, La Rochelle. Yep, Kanan Moody, actually penalised for blocking in that kick chase. And then, of course, the Bulls just defeated by Lyon by the 1 point, almost pulling off a massive win in France, which is extremely hard to do. I mentioned about the URC having prominent home field advantage. France is a whole nother level with that. So to be able to beat a French side in France is a task in its own right. Bulls almost able to do it, just missing that last kick. And Goosen must change his boots. The Bulls cannot waste 4 points, says Elfie Visa, although in his defense, they have been pretty tricky kicks. So, yeah, I feel like he'll be disappointed not to be able to get them over, of course. But, yeah, he's getting shown up at the moment by the kicking of Mani Lebock, who's just got another one over, making the score 9 points to 10. In this contest, got this on the Irish-speaking channel. Says Geza, and this is so much better than DSTV. It feels like I'm part of the family with Hamish and all the views. Says Chloe, and we are, of course, going to be here all throughout 2024 as well. So anyone who is new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We do the URC, we do the Sevens, International Rugby, the Six Nations, Super Rugby, you name it. And I'm back fired up for this game. Says Marnus, yeah, there's a big match feel for this contest and already a quarter of the way through. Only 1 point splitting these two sides. Both looking to start quick, but Joseph Dweber now running hard at the try scorer Ludwig. So Paul Levette will roll this one back, and it will be the box kick chance again for the Stormers. Put up high. Waiting for this one to come down. A little bit swirling in the breeze that they did mention about earlier on in Cape Town, but it is claimed by the Bulls, and Bros Papier now gets it across to Elric Lowe, the captain of the Bulls in this contest. And thanks, kids, have been looking for it. Says Yvonne. Now nice pass across Johan Goosen. Little chip in behind, goes straight into the hands of the Stormers defender, Damian Valimza. And that one's going into touch. Looking for the territory game. Anytime the Bulls make a mistake on attack and give that ball back to Valimza when he has space, he's either gone for the kick in behind, looking for that 50-22, or just trying to find a way of getting that ball into touch and then contesting it line-out time to win that ball back and win that territory battle. I like your commentary. Says Alfie, thank you very much, and great stuff for your coverage. says Stefan. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated you being here for this one. I hope you guys are all excited for Christmas just around the corner. That is going to be the penalty for the Stormers. The Bulls actually joining that one. I believe it was obstruction in the line out. And now pretty much that tactic of Damien Valimza that I just described worked perfectly because they were hoping to either get themselves the penalty or a chance of getting that ball back. Looks like Mani Libok now will line up another kick for 3 points, and these are going to add up. The Bulls' discipline has been what's let them down a little bit at this stage of the contest. And hello, says Yako Robinson, welcome in. And now about 46 metres out on the angle, I would say this one is for Mani Libok. Kicking 2 from 2 today. This will be the hardest kick by far, probably an extra 10 to 15 metres than any of the other kicks that he has had Monday, says Yako. And there as well. The crowd certainly loud at Cape Town Stadium. Looks like it's I want to say a packed house, or at least in the seats we can see, are all completely full. Hamish is the best commentator, says Chloe. Now Mani Libok to line up this one. He's got the distance. It looks like it's just drifting. Yes, it is away to the left-hand side. Unsuccessful for Libok, and now the Bulls are going to kick this one way downfield with Kane and Moody, and it is a fantastic kick from the youngster. And all of a sudden, we're going from one end of the field to the other. And they always play the kicking game with small points difference typical, says Marco. I mean, we've seen some pretty good running game coming. I mean, the Bulls have already got themselves 2 tries in the early stages. Just to put it into perspective, Glasgow versus Edinburgh was lower scoring at this point, the game that we watched yesterday. And this game's already had more tries than that game had throughout that same window of opportunity. So it's one of those ones that both of these sides have had a fair share of bonus points for scoring 5 or more tries, or 4 or more tries, throughout the season. If you look at their points differential compared to any other side in the competition, the Bulls with the plus 118, they are used to scoring more points than pretty much anyone else. Stormers, even though they're sitting down here in 10th, they've got a plus 43 compared to Edinburgh with -3, -13, +2, +8. So they still score tries, is pretty much the point that I'm getting at in that regard. And Monday is Christmas, says Yako. It certainly is. I can't remember when was the last time the Bulls won against the Stormers, says Bonito. It'd be a little while because the Stormers in 2022, 2023's early season, they were going at a very good rate. But the Stormers, oh, that's a big shot from Stennekamp. I think they're going to have to check that. But first, Dion Foree breaking the line. He's got Puldavet with him with the draw and pass. They are 1 metre out from the line now. The Stormers, Mani Libok offloads on the inside to Duplessis in his 50th match, will score between the posts. And he kicks it into the stands out of celebration. And not only that, they will also check to see whether or not there is going to be something worse for Gerhard Stennekamp. He did tackle him high, and it didn't look like there was much of a wrap involved. Oh, right on the jaw. I think that's the thing. There's some huge contact going into that. The thing that's going to save him, I believe, is the fact that Johan Nedling-Fouché was already being tackled. That's not to say that that shouldn't be a red card, but that's what I believe will take it down from a red to a yellow, because they'll say he was already being tackled down. Looks worse every time you say it. Yeah, it's really bad. Like, easily a red card, I believe. But the way that the current law is, they'll probably say it's a yellow because it is falling. So they're going to check to see the mitigation. And that seems to be a word that has been thrown around a lot in rugby for 2023. So because he's slightly being tackled and has dropped down because of that tackle of Ludwig, it's still a really, really bad tackle, and one that wasn't necessary from Gerhard Stennekamp. This should be a red card, but like I said, yeah, okay, here we go. So pretty much what I just described as what I thought they might consider, it's going to be downgraded from a red card to a yellow card because of the significant drop. We have got that learned Irish in school, turned out to be a useful way to watch rugby, says Yvonne. And come on, ref, that's nothing. This is a contact sport, what you expect. Says Spider-Man, yeah, but you still can't give a swinging arm to the head. Like, okay. So they were checking to see whether or not he could have done more. So this will be a yellow card, like I mentioned. Are you watching Toulouse versus Toulon after, mate? Says Razor Robinson. If I do, I don't think they're showing the top 14 still in New Zealand, which is a big shame. Like they were last year. This year I've had to find it elsewhere, unfortunately. Will this be reviewed? Probably. I don't know if they have the review system that they had in the World Cup for these games. To be honest, I think it is just a yellow card, and that is the way it will stay just for now. Is there a bunker system? I don't actually think so. For the URC, I think that it will remain as a yellow card for the 10 minutes. Like they've said, clear shoulder contact to the head. That's just poor tackling technique there. You got to get a little bit lower than he did. And hopefully Nettling Fouché is going to be all right because he took a heavy knock to his head. But that kick has gone over from Mani Lebok. That now makes the score 16 points to 10. And thank you very much, Arthur, for that gift of membership. In fact, he's just done another one too. He is on fire at the moment near Christmas in the very, very festive season. And also Stormers straight away back in front, says Marnus. And that is what makes them such a dangerous side. We've seen 3 tries already in the first 25 minutes of this contest, which, like I mentioned, is more than we see in most URC games. Now, big kick downfield. Willy LaRue passes it across. Johan Goosen puts the ball up nice and high. And it's going to be partially knock on. And we have got their send the bunker system to the bunker review. Says Big Fudge. Now Ruben van Heeren. Sounds like they are going back for that original knock on from Damien Belimza. In fact, it might have been a little bit of a double knock on scenario. Oh no, just knock on from Damien Belimza. So that is why it is going back for the Bulls scrum. Belimza is confused. Not sure why, because he did knock it on and should change the rules. Let the person on the field control the game. The hell with the bunker, says Spider-Man. And I think that's something that throughout 2024 and 2025, World Rugby will try and work out how they can do the refereeing side of it better, because I think that everyone will agree with the World Cup. And of course, this is not me saying anything in the World Cup would have changed if anything was different in the officiating before people get angry and start to say, no, I'm salty or I'm trying to make a situation out of nothing. But the World Cup, with the amount of influence in terms of the TMO and in terms of the assistant referees, it didn't flow, I don't think, the way that anyone really wanted. There were so many games that took about an hour and 55 minutes rather than an hour 45, mainly because of just delays that were taking place. We saw a game last night take place between Glasgow and Edinburgh. That game was a 2-hour match because of all the stoppages that were taking place in between. So they'll want to find a way of keeping the game flowing, because they don't, as much as American football was a success in America, that's not what they want for rugby. They don't want to have so many breaks in between that you could start throwing ads in, because then the longer the game is, the less engaged people become in it. Does that make sense? Or do I just sound like I'm rambling? I probably sound like I'm rambling, to be honest. But they want to keep rugby free-flowing, fast-paced, because that is the way that people enjoy watching it. Back in the old days, you didn't have stoppages. A scrum took 10 seconds, and that was just pretty much to get all the players there. The ball was out, and we were ready to go. Like nowadays, the scrum is considered an art, and it should be an art that is allowed to be used. But then alongside that, you've also got to make sure that a scrum doesn't take 4 minutes to take place. Conditions in South Africa lend themselves to more tries being scored. The games in the British Isles and Italy are not as conductive to tries because of the middle of winter. Says Evan, that is very true. And the bunker should only be involved if the ref can't see the ball down over the try line. Says Spider-Man, yeah, in the old days, like, there was no foul play being checked by TMO. Unless the referee saw it, and then he was like, right, I think you need to look at that because I think someone just uppercutted Tom down the road. So have a look at that, make sure Tom's all right. Whereas nowadays, they'll have 10 phases and then 15 phases go, oh, mate, got an elbow. So we've got to make sure he's all right. Now, another penalty going the way of the Stormers. I mentioned about that Bulls discipline, and it does seem like it is really struggling at the moment. But Mani Libok now going to be kicking this ball towards the corner. This is the chance that the Stormers need to once again use that man advantage that they've created. And we have got there, I think Mountain Goat's going to graze bullet, says Gordon McIntyre. See some nervous coaches in the boxes here, though. They want to make sure that they're getting it right in the later stages of this half year. The Stormers and the Bulls, they need to make sure that their discipline is on point, or else they could find themselves playing with 13 men on the field throughout the closing moments of this game. Joseph De Weber, his line out throws. Can he get them right? That is the big question. Nicely done. Ben Jason Dixon. Now, sounds like there was a little bit of side entry there from the comment of the referee, but it does not lead to a penalty. Joseph De Weber now still 10 metres out from the line. The Stormers waiting for their attack to start. They've got the penalty advantage. I mentioned that Bulls discipline and it's let them down there. Now Mani Libok with the cross kick. It's going to be sitting just in the field of play, I think, for Hudsonburg. Villy LaRue, he's pointing and he's saying that ball's on the line. They're going to check it anyway, Villy. Calm your farm. But 10 minutes remaining in the first half. Villy LaRue going over to the referee, yelling at him, saying that ball's on the line. The referee's going, mate, we're checking it anyway. Like, he was close enough that we're going to have a look at it. And Go Bulls Go says, go to hard. And also, oh, watch up. Says, Geza, we're always watching up, Geza, of course. But 4 minutes remaining of that yellow card. It could be an absolutely crucial one here. They just want to check whether or not it was put down on the dead ball line by Hudsonburg, or whether he's kept this one just in the field of play for the try. That foot's on the line. So already it's going to be a no try, but boy was it close to being a sensational try for the Stormers. Foot on the white line, although from that angle it doesn't look so prominent, but there is boot on chalk and the ball on the line. You blind bat, says Spider-Mech. No try, please, says Ryan. Yeah, they are checking it a couple more times. No try, back for the advantage, says Geza. And no try, please, says Ryan. I know my word. Says Clyde, we're checking this 15 times. They're checking it. This might be the best angle, says the TMO. So the Hudsonburg foot does go on the line there. Because of it, it will be no try. But he was extremely close to getting a fantastic try. And similar to what happened yesterday between Connacht and Ulster, says Geza. So it is going back for the original advantage. It is a no try, and this is now going to be probably another warning to the Bulls. Now, they did end up with a yellow card for a head contact rather than repeated infringements. Stormers cook and come on the Bulls, says Arthur. Yeah, they're going to have to try and really stop them from scoring before halftime, because if they do score again, the Stormers, there is a chance that this gets even more one-sided before the second 40 minutes begins. 5 metres out. I think Mani Libok's already made up his mind that they will be going back to the corner. I have to say, credit to Joseph De Weber at the moment, because normally he is somewhere that the Stormers, they don't really get their line out that right because of his throwing. But so far, he's been 100% in terms of the accuracy. Now the Stormers, Joseph De Weber, second ball on the field. That's probably not going to go well. Hi, Hamish, the Mr. Professional Commentator. Thank you. Cheers from Durban. Says Brian, no worries at all, mate. It is great to see you here once again. Joseph De Weber now going with this line out, and it's nicely claimed by Ruben van Geeren. The Mole looking dangerous for the Stormers. They're over again. I think it was Dion Foree who pops out with the try. It is indeed. I mentioned how it would be a bit of a seesaw between him and Marco van Staden. Who will be the better 6? 1 point goes to Dion Foree there. It looks like the way we roll, Chloe. And also we've got there Humid and Dubs, says Cool Story Bro, and Bull Stakes on the right at the moment, says Miminia. And also G after the stress, and Nice Stores Yowlikading, says Derek there. And yeah, they're looking like a beast at the moment when they roll forward. We've got to remember the Bulls scored the first 2 tries of the contest. The Stormers have scored the next 2, and that seems to be heavily where the momentum is heading towards halfway in this contest and come on the Stormers try, says Spider-Mech. Now Mani Libok, another chance of lining up the kick here. I think they're just showing the replay. Hang on. What do we got now? Something else is being checked. Oh, is that Dion Forey's knee down? Yep. Okay. So because Dion Forey has gone down there, he's not allowed to propel himself. Oh, no, that's not his knee, though. He's tackled. You're allowed one motion forward, but I think they're going to say that's no try for Dion Forey because they might say he's propelled himself too far forward. Okay, so they are just saying there is a clear grounding. Is it going to be a try, though? So we've got to look for Dion Forey there. There he is. So we've got to look for his knees first off to see if they're down. At this point, a knee does go down, but it is not Dion Forey's. Then, Dion Forey's knee is down at this moment. You're allowed one propelling motion. The knee goes down. Then he propels. I don't know if he propels. It's one of those ones that he's got to fall somehow, but it's whether or not his other leg has done enough to help him get forward more. Nice one, Stormers, says Stefan. And I was like, bloody hell, what now? Says Razor. So yeah, this seems like it's going to be a disallowed try for Dion Forey. They've said that he's had to propel himself forward with that other leg to be able to get that ball down. Dion Forey can't believe it. Elric Lowe, I think, was going to go over to him saying, I thought it was a try. And it is going to be no try. So, I mean, this is probably the perfect example of what I said earlier on about how TMOs and the refereeing in terms of how long a game takes, these are all factors that play into it. Thanks for the commentary. URC not available. Good coverage of this clash, says Gus. And also we're there. U7 men can't multitask, hop hop in one ear and you're awesome live in the other. Says Nazi Williams, a nice no try. Says Ryan. So yeah, we'll keep the score at 16 points to 10. Dion Forey, he will be disappointed because, yeah, pretty much the way that they've described that one is he has propelled himself forward, but he's a bit unlucky. I feel like that's one that could have gone either way, and it probably went the wrong way in that regard. We have good there. We'll be streaming the Boxing Day test in a few days' time. We are hoping to do the first day of the Boxing Day test, although it depends on when we are going on holiday. Will depend on how many days we can do, but we definitely won't be able to do the end of that test match due to being away, unfortunately. And G betting feeling a bit better. Says Chloe, little chip in behind there attempted by the Bulls, but it sits up with the Stormers. They'll go back for another penalty now. Okay. Number 2. Broke away is what they have said there. So Joseph De Weber, the man who has been penalised, have fun on your holiday. Says strike tone down under and good ref. Says Ryan, let's go Bulls. Says it was Paul in there as well. Billy LaRue now looking to get this one for the corner. Timo, you fraud. I didn't see anything wrong. Says Manus. And go the Bulls, says Hendrik. And very good ref, says Chloe. Although, wondering, out of curiosity, are you saying it's a very good ref because it's a Bulls, or Stormers no try? Or are you saying very good ref because it is the right decision? Because I feel like there's a little bit of a case maybe there of saying good ref mainly because it means that the Bulls aren't down by more points, if that makes sense. Take some time off is good for you, says Gus. Yeah, it feels weird to be honest. Even having a day off is something we haven't done throughout 2023. And I think the last day that I had a full day and no editing was almost Christmas last year. Observant ref, says Chloe, yeah, no try. A ref's call, not TMO. Says Spider-Meek, and I, Chloe, I also support the Bulls, but we're tired of nail-biting rugby. We just come from nerve-wracking World Cup, but it's going to be kicked in behind from the Bulls. Actually going for a little bit of a chip and chase scenario there. And by the looks of it, the Stormers, they are happy with that decision from the Bulls, but the Bulls supporters are livid. They're wondering why they decided to chip that ball when they were only 5 metres out from the line. It is going to be a penalty in their favour anyway, so that is a bonus. So you're not doing Munster versus Leinster. Says Yvonne, it does depend on when we leave. I'm hoping to do that game maybe before we leave if we leave on the 27th. See, I don't know whether I'm leaving on the 27th, the 28th, the 29th, the 30th at this stage. So there's a chance that I will be doing that game anyway, but then there's also a chance, depending on what time in the morning we leave, if we leave on the 27th, that I might get cut off. So yeah, I have no idea, is pretty much the best way of describing it. But there's more than likely a good chance I should be able to do that game, because the earliest we should be leaving is the 27th. But it depends on what time on the 27th if it is. This is the URC final last year. Well, this was the URC final last year, says Manus. Not quite. Munster were involved. They won the thing. But I think it was a semi-final, wasn't it, between these two sides? What's the use to have a ref if the damn TMO interfere and Rugby with the Kiwi Lads takes away a bit of the stress and we enjoy the family vibe? Says after a nice run round the side that was almost close to Heinrich Lowe going over the try line, but they have decided to go with that tap and go from 5 metres out. A little bit of a counter ruck there from Jean-Luc Duplessis. Now Swanepoel. The Bulls looking to fire straight back, and I should mention they are only down by 6 points here rather than the larger margin that they could have been on. And Bros Papia, he decided to sell the dummy to Stedman Hans. The ball's loose. Kutli Arensa has to clean it up, and he is about 30 metres from the line now. So the risky tactic did not pay off. And the heart and soul of South Africa, where's Evan Ruiz? Unfortunately injured at the moment, so that is why he is missing from this contest. They've actually got a few players injured at the moment, the Stormers. As the list goes on, loose ball, picked up beautifully by the Stormers. Billy LaRue passed it out wide. It went to Marnie Libok, which in a Springbok kit is a good thing. Not so good when they're on opposite teams. Now only 2 metres out from their own line. Kanan Moody has to try and stop Damian Valimza from getting that turnover. Now going back across to Wilco Lowe. 3 minutes remaining in the half, and it is well and truly just back and forth rugby between these two sides. If Marius van der Vesthuizen is the ref, the Bulls will suffer in any case, says Alfie. I mean, the referee, though, he wasn't the one who made that decision. It was the TMO who did come in and change it. That is going to be kicked into touch from Papia from inside of his 22, but we're gone from one end of the field to the other. It was the skip pass from Billy LaRue. Unfortunately, he was going to do a skip pass to a prop, which is all well and good if the prop is exactly where he needs to be. If he's not, he's got a bit of ground to be able to make up first. Are we going to? We are going to Wanaka, is the plan. And now Joseph De Weber to line up this. Was that straight from De Weber? Or his line out, that one's gone into touch anyway, but the Bulls, they are now going to have themselves to line out. The short one did not work this time for the Stormers. Now 2 minutes remaining and still only 6 points difference between these two sides. It could go down to the wire. First comment, says Arthur in there as well. And also we have good there in the chat, the Heart and Soul of South Africa. And also the tap and go shucks, says Nazi Williams. But that is going to be nicely thrown in by the Bulls. Now 90 seconds remaining, and they have a chance of taking the lead here if this rolling maul is successful. As Aka van der Merwe hands on to the ball at the back. Goes back across to the left-hand side. Johan Goosen to Stedman Hans in the midfield. Good low tackle made on him by Jean-Luc Duplessis. And the Stormers in that breakdown looking for the turnover. Marnie Libok does not get the ball. Almost half-time. What's for breakfast? Says Arthur. I'm not actually too sure what's on the breakfast menu. They probably just a banana. And God bless you, Hamish, says Vincent. And go Marnie, says Spider Mech. And their little knock-on the ground from the Stormers. Forido having to work extremely hard. He almost had that turnover, just knocked it on in the last moment though. And that little bit of extra pressure that the Bulls are creating in those rolling or those rucking situations is what caused that. Who's that? I think that's either Paul the vet. No, that's actually the man playing his 50th game, Jean-Luc Duplessis. He has scored the lone try of the match for the Stormers. And it looks like he is going to be making his way from the field now. KFC, says Nuz Williams. I don't even know if KFC's open for breakfast where I am. Well, the closest one's 30 minutes away, but I don't think they do breakfast at that one. Sounds like the Sharks in Durban, Banana County, says Arthur. But yeah, an unfortunate injury for Duplessis there. I see the seats is almost full with people. Do you think the tickets were sold out for this game? I'd like to think so. At the end of the day, if a Bulls versus Stormers game does not sell out, like, yes, Cape Town Stadium is a huge, huge stadium, but I feel like this is the type of games or type of match that if it doesn't sell out, you wonder what would type thing. Might have just taken an elbow from Johan Husson as he made the tackle, I think is what has possibly left him a little bit woozy, but Clayton Blomekis, the man who has made his way onto the field, I should never have been a card, says Royden, although we did explain why they would give it as a yellow rather than a red in terms of the mitigation and whatnot. And just unfortunately, the way that the law book is written, it says that, if there's heavy contact to the head, even if a player is ducking or even if a player is getting tackled in the process, then that takes the mitigation down from the red to a yellow. This game is too big to not be a sellout. And Hamish, you are natural talented at this. You really are one of the best, even though individual. Says Nazi Williams. Well, thank you very much, mate. And of course, you have been here for an extremely long time on the channel, and it is greatly appreciated for your support all throughout, whether that's Super Rugby, Six Nations, URC. You've been here through all of it. And Bulls Stormers final was last year, 2022. Our time is strange. Because yes, the next URC final was not long ago. Says cool story, bro, but that is going to be nicely worked away to the side by the Bulls, who are 22 metres out from the Stormers try line, and Bros Papia goes short ball to Aka van der Merwe, Cape Town Big AB's fan, and wear the hat for half time, says Ryan. And there as well, and that is a knock on from the Bulls, knock on them from the Stormers, and that will be half time in the contest, 16 points to 10 in favour of the home side, the Stormers. So we did see the Bulls get themselves two early tries, one coming from Kutli Arinsa and the other being scored by, I believe it was Reinhard Ludwig, who got the other. And then for the Stormers, just the one try on the ball. That was Jean-Luc Duplessis, although unfortunately, since then has ended up with the injury. Look at that, ABs. Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? And also the one who makes the rules doesn't play rugby. Says Spider-Making Rugby League with your dad. Don't leave that out. Says Naz Williams. I love hot mums. Says Mimanea. That is George's hat, I should mention, rather than my hat. But yeah, George does have a hat that says that, which is a bit of fun. Of course, for halftime in this contest, 16 points to 10. We will get some stats to do with this contest. I think that territory would have to go the Stormers' way, I would think, because of that 10 minutes where they did have the man advantage, and also just because they have had just a little bit more possession, I would say, throughout that first half. Give them that little bit more of that advantage. We'll go here, match center, there we go. And the stats, right. So the stats are as follows. Okay, I'm wrong. 52% actually favouring the Bulls in the position. So actually very close to 50-50 between these two sides. 12 defenders beaten by the Stormers compared to the 9 of the Bulls. A very interesting stat is that there have been 6 offloads from the Stormers compared to 0 from the Bulls at this point. So they're not really taking too many risks there, the Bulls, but they have gone for a few more kicks, whether it is a cross kick from Villy Leroux. Those wide cut-out passes haven't quite paid off as of yet, but 85% tackling success for the Stormers compared to 76% for the tackling success of the VODACOM Bulls. And I feel like that is somewhere that the Stormers will really be able to make the most of in the second half, is if they are missing tackles in this match, the Bulls, and the Stormers are able to break through and then get that offload away, that will be a very interesting one. See whether or not they can make the most of it. It is 2023. This will always be the ultimate South African derby, North versus South. This is war, says Willie Explore. And also we have got the penalty count, 7 against the Stormers compared to the 8 against the VODACOM Bulls. So still a little bit higher for the Bulls, I think. Or a little bit higher, I should say, for the Stormers than they would have liked to have, seeing as the Bulls have seemed like the side that's been penalised more. Do you agree that both sides' coaches will say to their players that they just need to keep possession of the ball and keep creating chances, getting points on the board, says Martis? I mean, both coaches, of course, will have their own individual plans that they want to try and incorporate into the second half. I think that's something that we've seen a lack of for the Bulls throughout this contest, is just being able to attack freely like they normally would. Like when they were on attack 10 metres out from the line, going for a little chip in behind is all well and good if it works, but in a game that just passing the ball through their hands seems like it could be quite successful, you definitely want to make sure you're still running that ball first, and that has been what's made the Bulls so dangerous. That's how they scored their 2 tries. Although Kirtley Utterances, of course, was off a kick, so that kind of changes things in that regard. But they have to make sure they keep on mixing it up. They can't be just one-dimensional. And I think that the Stormers, they have still got a lot up their sleeve in the second half. Their set play has been working quite nicely. Marnie Libok and Damien Valimza, that 10-15 combo does look very strong, just like it did for the Springboks. And we have got there, the Bulls need better defence, says Yvonne, and also Durban hot and humid. Going for a swim in the sea tonight after this game, says Brian. And there as well. It's actually quite warm here, believe it or not. I think it's raining though, which is slightly unfortunate. But we're actually sitting 15 degrees Celsius, which is, it's pretty decent for us in terms of the heat. Where's George, says Spider Mick? He is currently in Wanaka. He's about 3 hours away from myself, so it makes it a bit tricky. But yeah, this will probably be his first week off work in about 2 or 3 months as well. So it's been very tricky to find times, definitely because a lot of the games that we're covering on the channel currently are either taking place at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. It makes it very tricky to be able to get them on a stream. But if you are missing George, the Kiwi Lads Entertainment channel, there are weekly videos, in fact about 2 or 3 a week going out over there. So be sure to check that out, because at least then you've seen where George is, because he's been editing those videos for that channel. And what team do you think you will have, or think will have better confidence going into the second half? Well, it's a bit of a weird one, because the Stormers will be confident because they've dominated at times throughout this game. But the thing that won't give them confidence is the fact that they've only scored 1 try. Now, they've been extremely close to scoring a couple. Some would even argue they did score 2 in that first half. The Bulls, they will feel confident in a different regard, because they didn't concede more points when they were down a man. And they are still in this contest. They're only 6 down. So anything can happen throughout the second half. Did you build the chair? I did indeed. It is in my room at the moment, that chair that we did put together. The reason it is not here is because for that chair, it kind of swivels. And for this green screen, I have to lean it up against my chair. So if I had a swiveling one, it means that, like, if I was moving around, the green screen more than likely would fall over. Unfortunately, we love George. Like yourself, both real people be themselves, says Nuz. And yes, the Bulls got 2 tries, says Chloe. And boiling in Pretoria with heat wave past week, 30 plus degrees. Jeez. It's a bit hot. One moment, I am going to sneeze. So I will mute myself. I am better now. Finished sneezing, and Brian, aren't those sharks? Or aren't there sharks? Says Arthur. It probably depends on which part of the beach he goes to, I would assume. Yeah, the 2 tries for the Bulls so far. Kirtley Utterances being able to score 1, and then the other try being scored by Renan Ludwig, the big lock, scoring the first try in the contest. Then for the Stormers, just the 1 try that has been scored. That was Jean-Luc Duplessis. I'm sure that they will want to try and continue that momentum of scoring. They did start. That's the thing. They started well, the Stormers, and I feel like they haven't really looked that bad throughout this game. The momentum is a very hard one to pick, because both stats were pretty much 50-50 in possession and territory. Yeah, it'll be very interesting. See who walks away as the stronger side. Now, Renan Ludwig, actually the leading tackler for the Bulls. He made 6 tackles throughout the half, and Ruben van Heeren was able to get himself 7 tackles under his belt. Are you comfortable there on your wooden chair? Wooden chairs for me is always kind of uncomfortable. It's been terrible for my spine, I'll be honest, sitting on the wooden chair all this time, but at the end of the day, it is my own fault, so I'm okay with it type thing. You can usually fix, I'll lock a swivel chair, says Yvonne. You can, although it also kind of leans, if that makes sense. So unless I really tighten those bolts and lock it in, like, I've just felt like it was easier to put it in my room type thing. And where's the hat? Says Ryan, and the first should follow. And also hello, Amy, says Gav Grumble. And there, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. Oh, time for a Kit Kat back in 5, says Spider Mick. Yeah, second half just around the corner for these 2 sides. I mentioned about the benches earlier on We will show them once again for the Stormers. They have already used the change of Clayton Blomekes. That is due to the injury of Duplessis at 12. So I'm wondering whether or not now Blomekes goes to 15 and maybe Valimsa slots into that inside centre role. Could be an option that they do look at, or they might just leave Blomekes in the midfield and then keep Damien Valimsa at number 15. Andre Hugo-Finta, of course, will be excited for his opportunity when he does get it for the Bulls. I don't believe they've made any of their changes as of yet. They've got Chris Smith as an option later on with Keegan Johannes, as well as Sebastian de Klerk. And then, of course, Martin Zima and Mornay Smith, two big men in the front row. I think we're seeing a little bit of Martin Zima already due to that yellow card that we saw of Gerhard Steenekamp, but that has now run out, and they are back to 15 out there on the field. We have got there, where's the Christmas hat? Says Marnus, it is to my side. I've got there, Ryan has got there, I love the hat. And 2 degrees Celsius in the USA today. What do you think Ben Tamafuna is getting for Christmas? Says Razor. Depends on what he wants, really. I feel like it would be an interesting one as a rugby player for Christmas because everyone would think you just want rugby stuff, wouldn't they? But I wonder whether they actually do or whether they want something outside of rugby. Ouch, says Mimineer. And also there may be, I will take the chance. I serve most days here in Omdaloti. Hopefully I said that correctly. So far no shark attacks, says Brian. Currently not too far away from the second half getting underway in this contest, but I will mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It has been greatly appreciated you all being here for this matchup, and we've got plenty more coming in the near future. The URC is one of those competitions that is running pretty much all throughout the early stages of 2024. I almost said 3, but 2024, and also alongside that, we have got the Champions Cup, which is only a couple weeks away. In fact, for both of these sides, in terms of their upcoming games, European Champions Cup, 3 weeks' time is when we see the Bristol Bears in action up against the VODACOM Bulls. Now, that game will be taking place in England. For the Champions Cup, the Bulls, they'll be going head-to-head for up against Bordeaux. Now, the fact that that game is at Loftus is a massive advantage for the VODACOM Bulls. Then they've got 3 games in a row of the United Rugby Championship where they go head-to-head with South African sides. The reasoning behind that, I believe, is also because of the Six Nations taking place. So it means that the European teams do play each other rather than the South African sides. For the Stormers, they have also got the Champions Cup, but first of all, they have got their game next week where they are going head-to-head with the Sharks. That is going to be taking place at 6 a.m. on the 31st of December. Then Stormers versus Sale Sharks taking place on the 14th of January, the 21st. They have got Stade Francais, and then the 2 games up against South African sides once again. So the 2 derbies taking place each week for the February 18th and also the March the 3rd round of the URC. So plenty more excitement coming up for these 2 South African sides in the near future. What we will quickly do as well is we will show you the table, the way that it sits at the moment. The Stormers, they are in 10th, and they will be looking to climb their way up the rankings. And if they get themselves a win here, they win it, they will move up to 6th place. If they win it with a bonus point, they more than likely will jump up to 5th. Then for the Bulls, they have got the potential. If they win this game, they will go to 2nd. If they win this game with the bonus point, they will find themselves ramping right up to 1st place because their points differential, as you saw, plus 118 is absolutely phenomenal. And we have got there a hot mum and stand with the phone and the drink, says Mimineer. I'll be honest, I had the stats up. I didn't see anything that was happening, and also we got that far out. These are some tough teams compared to Super Rugby, to be honest. Says Razor Robinson. And also yesterday, my friends and I were swimming at Hen and Chicken Island. Says Spider Mick. The 2 sides back out there on the field now, ladies and gentlemen. The Stormers, they will be kicking off this one from right to left to get us back underway for the second half of the South African Derby. Now, like I said, the Stormers, they've got the game next week up against the Sharks. Six Nations soon. Says Yvonne, it certainly is starting up in February, so just over 2 months' time. Oh, sorry, just under 2 months' time till the Six Nations is here. Now, Mani Lebok. See whether or not they can turn this around. I saw a white pointer approaching. I blow bubbles at it. I swam away. Says it was there from Spider Mick. keeping loose at the moment. Mani Libok and Paul de Vet waiting for the whistle to blow. But both sides playing with 15 men on the field. I should mention at this stage of the match, Gerhardt's going to come back out there on the field, although they might decide to make that change of Matanzima relatively early so that they don't risk the chance of another card. That is the last thing that they want at this stage of the match. Definitely not while they have got a 6-point deficit to make up. But it is the first tackle with a half made by Damien Valimza. He actually touched the ball first in the first 40 minutes of the contest. Now the Bulls with Ambrose Papier be rolling this ball back, getting ready for a box kick early on in the second half. But I feel like there might be a bit of a feeling out process once again at the start of this half, similar to the first, just trying to work out what tactic will benefit their side moving forward. Take it easy, guys, says Chloe. The Stormers, they all look to probably attack extremely quick early on in this half, try and continue what they built around that 30-minute mark. Joseph Dweber now with the line-out throw. And it is loose, but it has been cleaned up beautifully by Diamani, but he did pass the ball forward to Hudson-Berg, and because of it, it is now going to be a scrum feed for the Bulls. Just a little mistake from Diamani, passes it forward by about half a metre or so. It is comfortably going as the four bars go. Dweber run it straight, says Razor Robinson. 41 and a half minutes through, and every time we have a scrum that will use up that little bit more time left on the clock. Bulls can score now. Whether they convert or not, it's still a 1-point game though. I mentioned at the start how I hope this game would go down to the wire. It does have a little bit of that feel. After the Bulls scored the 2 early tries, seemed like they would be the ones who did walk away with the win, but now Stormers fighting back, need a big Dweber to run it hard and straight. Says Razor Robinson there. Now big scrum. The Bulls manage to get the ball out. Now Vili Leroux passes on the outside to Kutli Arinsa. Just stays in the field of plays. And Ambrose Papier lined up there by Hudson-Berg. Now the quick pick and go. Just staying on the side of the Bulls. And that is why it's such a danger in any breakdown. When you got Dion Forey across from you, he will try his absolute best to be able to get those turnovers. It's a ruck, says the referee. So Forey takes a step back. What team does Bongi play for? Says Razor Robinson. I believe he's currently in Japan, isn't he, Bongi Manumbi? Am I correct in saying that? Or is he still at the Sharks? He might still be at the Sharks. Now loose ball. Damien Valimza across Hudson-Berg to Ruan now. Looping around. He didn't quite go back to Lillian Zuss. And the ball has been stolen, but it is the penalty. Hands were down. Have you tried champagne? Says Dog Battery. I have not, no. Haven't tried champagne. Not quite that fancy. We have got the spelling of champagne different that time from Dog Battery. And also we got there the Hamish emojis there from Razor Robinson. Looks like Mani Libok is called for the kicking tee here with the penalty being 40 metres out from the line. And I'm so sad we're losing, says Ryan. But luckily the game is not over yet. Although this kick from Mani Libok could be absolutely crucial because if he can get this one over, it extends their lead to outside of that 7-point window, which will mean that the Bulls need a lot more attack if they want a chance to get him back into this one. Still plenty of time on the clock though. So, shouldn't be too much of a trouble. Mani Libok, 46 metres out. Dog is actually a slang word which is pronounced homie in American. Yes. I think Crusaders would beat both these teams. Champaign is a town in Illinois, says Gus. Well, there you go. That one from Mani Libok, a lot better than that one in the first half. And he has got it over 19 points to 10 now in favour of the home side. Hopefully the Bulls win, says Dan. And Whiskey too rough, champagne cost too much. As a matter of fact, I like Steinlager, says Spider-Mech. Now that one straight down the middle will give Mani Libok a lot of confidence. It's a 70, says Ryan. And a lovely kick, says Razor Robinson, but now Clayton Blomikis passes across to Ruan. Now looks like the Stormers actually want to try and attack from inside of their own 22, and they're making decent meters in the process. Now 25 meters out. Diamani has a bit of a piercing run himself. Gets driven back a metre. For South Africa Rugby to be strong, we need a good Bulls team, says Marguerite. Gone very high with that cross kick. Nicely taken by Kutli Arendse. Shows off his strength and manages to keep it when Hudsenberg was contesting. Now Ludwig, the man who was able to score the first try in this contest, Willie LaRue, goes across to Hussen. Seems like it's starting to open up out there on the field. Both sides getting more opportunities for their backline to be able to pass the ball through. Now Papier, Hussen, short ball, but it's a mistake made. And Ruan now able to steal it for the Stormers. Kicks it in behind. Looks like it's the big man Diamani who is chasing after it. Now beautifully done just next to the touchline. And somehow keeps himself in the field of play. Honeycomb, but the ball's bounced out for the Stormers again. Paul de Vet goes off to Ruben van Heeren. And now the chance for the Stormers as well and truly their cross kick from Williams. I don't think it was the right choice. And now because of it, the Bulls have been able to take the ball back close to a maybe forward pass. Yes, it was from Stedman Hans. And like a Kiwi boy says Dylan. And also nothing better than lemon water, and money should grow his hair out, says Razor Robinson. And also great work Stormers, says Razor. And there as well. Ruan now able to get that steal. Just little passing errors here from the Bulls are leading to counter-attacking opportunities for the Stormers. Saw that imperfect example there. And Honeycomb, he's done extremely well to keep that ball in the field of play, but still did end up going back to the Stormers. Kutli Arendse, though, putting on just enough pressure. I think it will be a Bulls scrum now that we look at that. I think there was a knock-on initially from Hudsenberg. And also Razor, yes, he should. And also, with the current Stormers team beat the current Crusaders team, says Evan, unfortunately, we don't get to find out. We get to find out whether or not the current Munster team would beat the current Crusaders team, because those two sides playing early on in 2024, seeing as it's the winner of the URC versus the winner of Super Rugby. So the only way to find out is for the Stormers to win this year in the URC, so that we can then see them going head-to-head with the Crusaders if they were to win. And ask the All Blacks, says Arthur, and maybe the 2024 Crusaders, but not the 2023, says Razor. And no, I don't think so, says Chloe. And there as well, but Ambrose Papier to feed this ball into the scrum. Both front rows unchanged at this point. Honeycomb has been taken off the field, and Morabi is now out there. They get the shoulders up as the call there from the referee. I'll be honest, I don't think we've had as many scrums in this game as either front row were probably expecting, and neither side's really found a huge amount of dominance at scrum time. I mean, relatively even. If the Bulls can score soon, you can count on Will Jordan scoring a try. Though, we have got that Hamish, you living alone or with family? I am with family. But, yeah, currently got the green screen up, so you can't see anything else that's happening around the background. Razor's gone and nobody knows of Eliza here for the Satyrs. Risky off though from Morabi, but it does seem like it's worked for Ambrose Papier, who now goes with the wide cutout pass to Billy LaRue. One more to Kane and Moody as the momentum shifts forwards for the Bulls. After 22 metres out, well cleaned up at the back by Hudsenberg. Oh, and Lillian Zuss has actually stripped it from him, which was a risky tactic, but it ends up working in the end. Now Dion Forey. We have got the New Zealand should bring in Martin Guptill instead of Finn Allen. Ghosts in knockout matches, says Dob Battery. It's quite cool watching Martin Guptill in the Super Smash at the moment, seeing as he is still active. I think he had a decent knock and then went out in a really weird fashion in the opening game. He kind of missed the shot and it just rolled onto his stumps. Lillian Zuss, another carry for him. Currently being protected by the Stormers. 22 metres from their line. Paul de Vet asking for the penalty. The referee says no, the ruck is formed. Where is Elton Yankees when you need him? Says Razor Robinson. There's a lot of answers you could give for where Elton Yankees is. He should be behaving himself at this point, shouldn't he? Looks like there was a big shot on Ben Jason Dixon, though. Oh, Marabi. He's ducking down, but he's got him on the chin. If we're consistent, see, that's an ugly one as well, because Ben Jason Dixon has really gone down low in terms of where he has taken contact, but it's still on the chin. So I think this is going to be a yellow card for Marabe, even though he tried to tackle him round the balls. He's still going to end up probably with a yellow card. Craig Cooper was the best ever player on form. Says cool story, bro. They are showing full speed. So Ben Jason Dixon, pretty much the best way of describing it is he ducked to brace for contact. And unfortunately might end up with a broken jaw in the process. But Marabe was going to hit him. Oh, there's a little bit of something going on in that breakdown as well that they were just showing. But yeah, he's going to tackle him around the stomach. And the mitigation here, like they've just said, this one's a little bit different because the player's actually in a good position to make a tackle. And me oh my, this game is broken. Whereas Covers van Beek when you need him. And New Zealand made the worst decision. They should have benched Finn Allen on his performance against Sri Lanka and England, also Ireland. This is why you shouldn't trust youngsters except Ratch and Ravindra. So you're making an exception to trusting youngsters with Ravindra, but not with anyone else. Craig Cooper, no way. Kristen Cullen was the best ever. And I was very good there. Who got a yellow? Okay. Right. This is There we go. They have actually decided Marabe was in a position to make a decent tackle. What has caused it to be dangerous is the drastic drop of the Stormers player. Okay. So Dion Foree agreed that there wasn't really foul play in it. He was still asking, do we get a penalty for it? But because there's no foul play whatsoever, it means that it is going to be the scrum for the Bulls. So it's an interesting one. It's one of those ones that if that happened in a big match, you know there'd be outroar. And I feel like this is still a very big match. But I guess by big match, I mean like an international game type thing that it would cause a few problems. And David Pocock was the best ever on form, says Razor Robinson. And also Morning Duplessis should come back for the Stormers, says Johan Labaskachny. And also Andre Jalbert was the Rolls Royce of fullbacks, says Marguerite there. And sad, we can't even make a decent tackle these days. And now it does matter how many each top side win. But just the box four, hang on, where to go? The box fourth World Cups and finals they played, says Mario. And also we get there David Pocock beats Andre Jalbert. Okay, 30 minutes remaining. And Hamish, looks like a nice close game. Have a good Christmas, mate. You too, Joss. Hopefully you have caught up on a bit of your sleep. Yeah, there are still a few empty seats at Cape Town Stadium, but like I said, huge stadium, always going to be hard to be able to properly fill out, but everyone who is there is loving the atmosphere that's being created by this North-South derby. In hard case, when you pause, nearly refresh sometimes, says Nuz. Yeah, you can see that I have a listening face, can't you? How I just stop what I'm doing because, yeah, I can't hear the commentary if I'm still talking, which is tricky because I talk a lot. Now, going back across to the left-hand side, the Bulls here with Aka van der Merwe. And Bros Papier. Only 10 metres out from the try line and a really good chance to get themselves on the front foot and close some of this deficit that is still upon them of the 9 points. Now for Shear. making the tackle again. Damien Valimza joining the line to make that one. Acha van der Merwe running straight at Diamani, gets held up partially, but now finds himself to the chalk. Marabe, 10 metres out from the line, still attacking here for the Bulls. They're up to 8 phases. Now, this is where last time they started going for cross kicks, wide cutout passes. I feel like they don't need to do that here. Maybe wide cutout pass, but not the cross kick. And they've actually done a Billy LaRue wide cutout pass to Kane and Moody, who scores the try in the corner. It's much more effective when they put the ball through their hands rather than trying to kick it into awkward positions. Just use that pace. I watch your facial expression, Amish, says Chloe van Rooyen. And when I grew up, I thought Barry John was the best player. Was I right or wrong? Says Spider-Mick. I'll be honest, I have no idea who Barry John is, which I'm sure will offend a lot of people. But Billy LaRue found the passing option to go to Kane and Moody. You see there that Lilian Zas was a long way off his wing, which left that gap open. Lomikis wasn't able to get over there. And Moody does score the try. So far we're seeing Kudli Arinsa and Kane and Moody both score themselves. Tries out wide by the Bulls. I'm surprised Al Ariad destroyed Auckland City. I don't know what were the reasons, says Dog Battery. And lovely work, Kane and Moody. Says Razor there. And that kick is very good from Johan Goosen. He's had a struggle off the kicking tee today, but that one he struck straight down the middle of the sticks. And now it is going to make the score 19 points to 17. This one will go down to the wide just that little bit more, ladies and gents. A great finish from Moody in the corner. Beautifully done there from Moody. And Moody likes to boogie. There you go. Almost rhymes. Well, you know, you've got a few of the same letters, don't you? It's just the first and the fourth. It's gone backwards off the Stormers, they say, so the Bulls will retain the ball. And Bruce Papier going to Johan Goosen, who is now incorporating more of a kicking game, beautifully running onto it was. Mani Libok, though, covering a lot of ground. Superman, that says Razor Robinson. And also, New Zealand versus Bangladesh T20 series coming up, please. If you're willing to recover, then please do it. Oh, beautiful work from Dion Foree. But yeah, we do want to do more cricket in the future on the channel. I think we're doing some of the Boxing Day test. Of course, doesn't have New Zealand in it, though, unfortunately. But now, nice run forward for Andre Hugo Fenta. Paul Davet crossed the Mani Lebok, missed pass there, but does still sit up for Diamani. Gets it on the outside. Damien Valimza in the corner. They'll check it. He's loving the crowd. He thinks he's got it. He's just shushed someone. That's pretty much Damien Valimza in a nutshell. He'll get happy and then he'll be angry in about half a second. Still shushing the crowd. We have good day. I'm happy for Jake because he was a teacher. Says, cool story, bro. And I was like, good morning. What a great way to start the morning before work. Says Simran. So yeah, hopefully you do have a speedy day at work. Did Valimza get it down? Nope, he's thrown the ball at the line. He's knocked it on. I don't know who he was shushing. He's knocked it on, Damien Valimza. Why is he doing his try celebration? He sat there with the arms stretched out going, yeah, that's right. Knock on, no try for Damien Valimza here, unfortunately. Separation between his fingers and the ball. Separation, no try for Damien. Why has he done that? His dream, he says, Razor. Yeah, now those crowds who he told to shush are giving it back to him. And probably fair enough too if he's going to shush them for a no try. And Billy LaRue creates so many tries, but he must stop swearing at the ref, says Johan. Also, we have good wingers, but Brian Abana in his prime and Chisholm would have been a bonus to play with Lebok and Valimza. Yeah, he is no longer talking. Damien Valimza. Valimza is a dreamzer, says it was there from Razor. Win prediction at the moment, still 76%. Does say that it will be the Stormers who managed to walk away with the victory. Now, I do see Willie Engelrek has made his way onto the field. Ben Jason Dixon Nicely done. Looks like Mani Libok will put this ball high. Chased hard by, it was collecting Mlomikis and Amish Brew. I think you were the only calm person in New Zealand since they lost the Rugby World Cup 2023 final. Says Dog Battery. I mean, we covered every game of that Rugby World Cup though, so I felt like, in a way, like it was kind of awesome to be able to cover a World Cup right through, mainly because we didn't do any of the games of 2019. We weren't actually doing YouTube at the time of that World Cup. So yeah, it's been quite a journey since 2019, but that is going to be a penalty now in favour of the Stormers. It's good. Handling errors both sides, and Cheslin is better than Habana would ever have been in the last 5 years. Says Razor Robinson. I don't know. Have you seen prime Brian Habana? Like, he was a lethal man to stop with insane pace. So, like, at times Cheslin's been great. Don't get me wrong. Very good player. 2019 Rugby World Cup. Stepped around England. Got that try. But, like, what Brian Habana's been able to do as well, like, he's pretty good. I feel like Brian Habana, he'd still go all right if he took to the field again. Your positive energy is infectious, Hamish. You're making the world a better place. Says Naz Williams. Very kind, Nazi. And also, it's good handling errors both sides, and South Africa deserved to win that World Cup. I was angry at the TMO. It shouldn't go back 2 phases. Says Spider Mick. Will you cover Euro 2024 football? I will not know. I have nowhere near enough knowledge about the teams or anything along those lines to make it so that it makes sense for me to cover it. If that makes sense. Amish Bro, another lovely jacket colour, so beautiful, says Vishal. It looks like Blomikis might have a little bit of an injury here. He's actually the injury replacement for Jean-Luc Duplessis, so you'd hate to see another injury for the same position. Space is harder to create these days, though, because defence is much stronger. Bana is only effective in open space. Colby can create space, says Razor Robinson, although Abana could only, handle what was put in front of him, if that makes sense. Like, if you're playing, let's say, cricket, for example, and you're versing a low-ranked side, just because they're a low-ranked side and you score a whole heap of runs, yes, some people would discredit it, but you're still going to do what you normally do. It's just the fact that if it's different than what you're used to, then, you got to adapt and you got to play to your conditions, if that makes sense. So, like, Cheslin Colby back in the day, who knows how he would have gone. Brian Habana in current day, who knows? Maybe he would have adapted his style more to match the current defensive strategy. And I feel like Brian Habana was one of those players who were good enough to be able to adapt. He just didn't have to because he was scoring tries anyway. Hamish, do you think Yori Muller is better than Brian Habana? I'll be honest, I don't know who that is, so I can't say yes or no. I think Ben Lamb versus Mark Delia, says Razor Robinson. The Stormers' 4-game losing run in the URC ended with their 31-7 victory over Zebre is the stat that has just come up. Until all day, but Lamb can play, says Naz Williams. Now 22 metres out from the line, Andre Hugo Finta is going to have himself the line-out chance here. South Africa deserves 4 World Cups, but should have been number 5, says Marguerite. And now penalty goes the way of the Bulls. That was playing the man in the air from Diamani. Just these little mistakes now from the Stormers starting to creep in. It's something that we didn't see earlier on when they didn't have as much pressure on them. And now that they have a bit more, seems like there's a little bit of uncertainty about how this match might end. Yeah, in the end, Diamani just playing that man in the air. Brock Harris and Alistair Vermaak now, both making their way onto the field. Front row replacements for Sitoli and Niling Fouché, who, to be honest, has done very well to continue the match ever since getting smacked in the jaw with the shot earlier on from Gerhard Stennekamp, who is also now going off the field. Nabana creates space. He was so quick that it seemed like he had open space, says Alfie Visa. And the second half is always stressful, Amish, and Bulls last 20 minutes, 2 more tries, says Arthur. So 2 more tries or even 1 more try for the Bulls would give them the bonus point no matter what in this contest. The Stormers currently sitting on the 1 try scored throughout this game. Looks like the Bulls, though, 1 is going to be still available for them after line-out time. And Bros Papia goes back across here to Matanzima. Now Swanepoel trying to spin out of that tackle attempt from the Stormers. And Bros Papia again going off to the left-hand side. Now they have got the option of Keegan Johannes a little bit later on. I can't judge Lamb or Talia. They're both good in their own way. Says Spider-Mick. Exactly right. And that's the thing, with so many different styles of rugby around the world, it means that stylistically players thrive in different conditions. Type thing. Like, I honestly feel like Ben Lamb in France is a wasted talent. If he was playing in either Japan or he was playing in England to an extent, like, I feel like he'd be a whole different player than what he is or what he was when he was playing for Bordeaux. Now going back across to the right-hand side, Ruben van Heer and the Stormers still in possession again. Couple cells of the dummy there from Lebok. Doug Howlett was fire, says Dylan Dames there. Very good player, Doug Howlett. Now Valimza waiting for that pass, or in fact did that pass to Hartzenberg. Joins the breakdown now. Back across. Ray Smith. You just feel like we're right on the verge of another try coming here. Although, drop kick. Marty Lebok tried it, and he's actually missed in that case. Just going away to the left-hand side. 2 points difference between the two teams. And Marty Lebok thought about getting it to be 5. Was that the right choice? I feel like he's been told to do that. And did Lomu ever score against South Africa? Says Werner there. Lomu never scored a try against South Africa, says Margaret. Well, straight away, I feel like that's been answered. Now Damien Valimza kicks it in behind. Now knocked on. And it looks like there might be an injury here for Johan Horsen, which means the space is open for Willie Engelbrecht. All he needs to do is find the inside ball, which he does. Ruan now will score it. Mr. Consistency, as I've nicknamed him throughout the URC, now reaps the rewards and helps the Stormers build the lead. That is what they should have been doing, rather than going with the drop kick. Score some points, get that 7, and get that lead a little bit more. Terry Wright, my best winger, our best World Cup try ratio, Lomu, says cool story, bro. And also we got the, oh yes, says Mimania. Yeah, it was a contest in the air from Hussein as well as Damien Valimza. And Hussein landed really hard, which meant that they have one less man to be able to defend. But already the space started opening. Beautiful offload from Dion Foree. It's pretty much lying on the turf by the time he got the hands away. Got it away to Engelbrecht, who ran it through the first defender. Got it on the inside to Ruanel. And the Stormers now reaping the rewards. They are now sitting on 2 tries, so they are 2 away from getting that bonus point. I mentioned that the bonus point is something that they will certainly be looking for throughout this game. And Bulls stakes back on the grill, says Mimania. But I still feel like this game is far from over. Both sides still plenty of time to be able to work back into it for the Bulls in this case, or the Stormers to be able to build this lead that they have now been able to create of more than the 7 points. What's up, Bulls? Says cool story, bro. Great stepping. In fact, I apologize. I said it was Dion Foree. It was actually Andre Hugafinta who was able to get that breaking run with the offload rather than Foree. Now Ruan now got a run from inside of his 22 after scoring the last try in this contest. Diamani, big fender tempted, but Wilco Low takes him down. I should mention as well, Sebastian de Klerk onto the field. That is for Stedman Hans. And the Bulls must lift up their game. Says Alfie, the ball is loose now. Paul DeVette slipping and sliding towards the touchline. Damien Valimza gets the kick in behind. Looks like the Bulls player is down again in back play. Seems like they're dropping like flies at the moment. Villy LaRue, great low tackle on him by Villy Engelbrecht. I was going to say it's a battle of the Villies, but that sounds a bit dodgy. Oh, well done, boys. Kill. Says Ralph Kurtley Arinsa, the player who is down and looks like a left shoulder injury here. He went up for the ball. I think he's been taken out there by Paul DeVette and has really landed awkwardly. Now, to be fair, Paul DeVette did have eyes for the ball. He just didn't quite line it up well. Or in fact, no, they are saying that Paul DeVette wasn't in a place to be able to take that ball, so I think they will go back for the original penalty in favour of the Bulls. Well done, boys. And also the Stormers creeping away slowly, says Spider-Mick. Although this is now the situation that might actually change things Okay, Ulrich Lowe now. Just went over to the referee and said how he was feeling about Kurt Lee getting taken out. Looks like he will be continuing this match though. And they said it was number 11. I believe it was Paul de Vet. Rugby is lifestyle, not just a sport, says Margaret. Now, I think it is going to be that penalty. The crowd are all loving it. They've got their Santa hats on or the Christmas hats. Okay. Yeah, there we go. They've just said it is Paul de Vet who has been penalised for in the air, taking the man out, and now the Bulls have the chance to kick for the corner. There is still the seesaw that is happening here with these two sides going head to head. And the Bulls, 44-10 home victory over the Sharks in round 7, ended a 5-game losing streak against fellow South African sides in the URC. So they are looking to try and keep that streak that they have now created alive. Of course, it's only at 1 for this point, but they'd absolutely love to get another victory here over a South African side. Akafunda Merva with the line out throw straight into Swanepoel. Been pretty early in terms of the way that the Stormers took it down, and in fact they've taken it down illegally, so it is now going to be the penalty advantage in favour of the Bulls. Marabi having a run around the side of the breakdown. Matanzima lined up by Brock Harris. Currently rushing up here, the Stormers. Another advantage, I believe that is for offside. Now Marabi goes at Willie Engelbrecht. Another tackle made. David Krill. Have we seen him today? I think every time he's had a chance to have the ball, Willie Leroux has done a skip pass. Now Kukli Arinsa looking to score a second try. He is tackled by Paul de Vet, the man who took him out in the air. That caused this initial creating opportunity for the Bulls. Now Caden Moody right next to the breakdown. Good leg drive. Offloads it up to Wilco Lowe. 10 metres now from the line. Another big run from Janko Swanepoel. Now Matanzima 4 metres out. We're up to 10 phases now for the Bulls. Caden Moody has decided he once again wants to be the crash ball runner. Been driven back 2 metres with it. Matanzima drops his head, tries to go through Alistair Vermaak. Crawls just that little bit closer to the try line. The advantage is over for that original penalty. Akafunda Merva. Taken down again now round the side. Ulrich Lowe, the captain of the Bulls. The ball is still available. The Stormers are not releasing that new advantage, and that's quite cynical. 1 metre out from the line, trying to keep that ball in there. Stop it from coming out. I think that was Dion Fourie. Thought he'd be able to get away with it, but the referee has seen it. And now passing out wide. Chance for Johan Lawson. Tried the short ball. Wasn't ready for it. How long is the game, says Alexa. At the moment, we are sitting 65 minutes through, so only 15 minutes remaining in this one. We have got there how many more minutes left? So it's 15 minutes left on the clock. It is now going to be against, in fact, they've said it's number 7 for a high tackle. I think the Bull supporters saying Dion Fourie was holding that one in. Come on now, says Chloe. Now they're having a huddle here for the Bulls. They've got to decide what the plan is. And the Bulls must live or lift their game, says Goal Story Bro. And also still a lot of time, says Chloe, exactly right. If the Bulls score now, that will actually give them, currently as this game sits, it would give them 2 points on the ball. 1 for the try-scoring bonus point and also 1 for being within 7. Looks like the tap and go is once again what they will be going for. Ulrich Lowe trying to break his way through. Stormers defending well though. Short ball, it's knocked on by Murabi. They just want to check this, although it is called as the knock on. So another chance for the Bulls goes begging, and the Stormers locals supporting their side loud and proud. The short ball, and yeah, just goes through the hands. And Money, the general. And 15 minutes left, says Alexa. It is indeed or no now. 14 minutes left on the clock. And Isaiah who knock on, says Spider Mech. Mornay Smith. Now on for Wilco Lowe. Just realised the whole time I've been calling him Marabe, but it is actually Guamedi for the Bulls. I think Morabe is actually the replacement for the Stormers, so my apologies there. But now the scrum feed, both front rows looking a little bit different to what they did at the start of the match. I believe the only man who is still on the field from the start of the contest is actually Aka van der Merwe. It's positioned in between the two replacement Bulls props. Now ball being fed in by the Stormers for Nkura. And that's gone down early. Referee not too happy with it either. I think he's going to reposition them. Okay, referee just saying, I get it's your first scrum, but we need a bit more than that. Alistair Vermaak just telling him that he wasn't quite getting the bind that he was after from Mornay Smith. And that is why it went down. 12 minutes almost remaining on the clock. That is how long sometimes the scrum can take. It's beneficial for the side in front. Not so beneficial for the side chasing the game because they want to keep this ball alive. Get as much chance of attacking as they physically can. The ball has been fed in. Big push from the Bulls there, but the Stormers get the penalty. The Bulls wheeling at scrum time. Brock Harris yelling at the ref. Didn't realise he was actually getting the penalties. He's actually very frustrated, Brock Harris. We have their crouch bind set. Says Spider-Mech, but now Mani Libok. They were only 5 metres out from the line here, the Stormers. They will now be able to kick this ball towards the touchline and relieve some of that pressure that was being created by the Bulls. You can't see the Bulls getting out of this. We have got there in the chat from Nazi with the $2. As I has got the 20 there, so welcome him. Well, you were already here, of course, but thank you very much for that donation, Nazi. What is the significance behind the 20 out of curiosity? Is that like 20 nil or 8? Is that 8 p.m? Maybe? No, don't know. If the Stormers get another try, the Bulls are a bit in trouble, says Manus. Now, Andre Hugo Fenta throwing this line out. I see claimed at the front by Connor Evans. One of the newer names out there onto the field. Come on, as number 19. Chris Smith also on the field now for Johan Hussen. Andre Hugo Fenta still hanging on to this ball. The back of the rolling maul. Guamedi told that he has to get out of that rolling maul. They're slowly getting work towards that touchline, but they managed to break away. Bulls already in trouble. Says Cool Story Bro. Now Nkura passes it across. Rush defence there on Diamani. Great low tackle by Mako van Staden, who, I'll be honest, has been pretty quiet throughout this contest. I thought we would have seen him a lot more than we have, but Mani Libok now sends the ball back to the sky across field. Everyone missing it, but now it's going to be sitting up for Hudson-Berg, who goes for the chip and chase, does manage to regather, but now knocks the ball on. 20:40 p.m, says Chloe. And there's over Keegan Johannes on Papier, in fact, does manage to clean it up. They've said it was a forward pass, I believe, in that case. I'm dumb at technology. I was trying to put through 20 for a grateful year you have given us, says Nazi Wounds. I mean, your $2 donation is much appreciated as well, of course. But I was confused at what the 20 meant. I was wondering whether or not it was like a signal that I should have known or something along the lines. But like I've said, it's greatly appreciated that you've been here all throughout the year on the channel. Stormers get another try. Bulls meet, says Mimania. And also Mani Libok, the general, says Spider-Mech in there as well. 10 minutes now remaining on the clock. Billy LaRue frustrated. I think he's frustrated because he felt that that pass wasn't forward. And to be fair, I think I actually agree with him. In that case, I didn't think it looked too bad. We haven't seen a replay, I don't think, of the pass that was called forward. So yeah, might feel a little bit unlucky. You don't just come to Cape Town and win here, says Johan. They are just showing the work that Diamani has been able to do so far. Aka van der Merwe. A lot of the times when Diamani's been running, it has been Aka van der Merwe who's actually been making those low tackles on him to slow him down. Maybe that is why they've still got him out there on the field, because they know that he could be the crucial part of that Bulls defence throughout those closing moments. Now I believe time is back on. They are going into the scrum. The Bulls have got themselves the feed. How'd they manage that? I wonder if that is because they did realise it wasn't forward, or whether there was maybe a knock-on from the Stormers beforehand, which I think is the more likely occurrence. They have now got the advantage. Now Chris Smith sells the dummy, goes on the outside to Villiers. Now Kurtley Arendse trying to back his pace, manages to shove off Paul de Vet. Already those two have had a little bit of a battle going on out on the wing, their home ground. Says Chloe. Now Huamedi manages to shove off the tackle attempt of Dion Forêt. Looks like Arendse has slightly stayed down in back play. Might be that shoulder once again playing up a little bit. But they keep going out to his wing. They keep backing him to be able to get the job done. Papier going Mornay Smith, Martin Zima, the two prop replacements linking up. Now Papier again. It's time going off to Slabber. Or Slabbert, I should say. I said it with too much French in there, didn't I? And don't mind me, Hammy, where is this game held? So it is at Cape Town Stadium. So the Stormers home field advantage for this contest. Big run forward from Marco van Staden, and now a lot of pace being showed by Renard Ludwig. And almost for Lim's turnover. No, he's given, wait, the ref just had the advantage arm out. And he's just decided to put it back down when the turnover went to the Stormers. Interesting. Now Mani Libok. I don't want to start any conspiracies or anything, but that was very confusing because he did say advantage for the Bulls and then he went straight away no when the turnover came. So I wonder whether or not he decided that it wasn't illegal from Damien Willems, who made a brilliant low tackle, clear release there, and then went in and managed to get the turnover. So really he shouldn't have been penalised for it, but I think there was a bit of confusion for the Bulls, seeing as the referee did extend his arm and say the advantage was there. We seem in trouble. Keegan Johannes now on the field for Moody. Oh, hang on. Now they're going TMO. Stormers are saying they had a line break opportunity and something's happened. They're checking possible foul play here. Oh, the hands were down for Damien Willems, but then he does put it back up. Okay, I think it's Diamani going through. Okay, here we go. So, yeah, Diamani plays the 9 to stop him from joining the breakdown. I believe that this will be a penalty to the Bulls here. Number 8, after just saying how good of a game Diamani's had, he's offside. Okay, so the reasoning behind that, ladies and gentlemen, Damien Willems did nothing wrong. But Diamani taking out Keegan Johannes as Keegan Johannes was trying to join the breakdown that Willems was just about to lock over the ball. So because Johannes couldn't join it, Ambros Papia wasn't able to join it, the reasoning for that was the Stormers player came in through the Bulls kind of channel. So that's why it's a penalty. Does that make sense? I'm terrible at explaining things, but pretty much it's an offside position, so the penalty is for offside. And now they want to line up the 3 points here, which they do get. So that will now make the score 26 points to 20, closing the gap to within the 7. So they will at least get 1 point here if this is the way that the score sits. Sounds like we might get a chance now, says Chloe. But yeah, the clean out from Diamani on Ambros Papier. So that is why the penalty did go against them. The Stormers now only walking up to halfway. It's as if that decision has sucked the wind out of their sails, but they can't allow that to be the deciding factor in this game. They have to make sure that they keep the intensity, or else, if they drop their heads, it's going to hurt them in this last 7 minutes. Amani Lebok, ready to kick this one off. Gee, a try would be awesome, says Chloe there. And too much bull, says Spider Mech. Going to be kicked up high. Nicely taken there by the Bulls. Keegan Johannes, he is on the field. That is for Kutli Arinsa, which means they were just saying Moody actually found himself as a lifter off that kickoff. But Papier puts the ball high now, being chased hard by the Bulls. They won't get to it, neither does Damien Williams. He has knocked that ball on, and in fact, it's a double knock on. So now it is going to be the Bulls who have got themselves a scrum feed from just inside of their own half. Williams' day. Almost had that try down the wing. How crucial could that one have been, depending on the final moments of this contest, to just partially knock it on. 6 minutes remaining though. And this one, I mentioned how there is a chance that it could come down to the wire and maybe be decided by 1 point, just like both of these two sides' games last week. La Rochelle defeated by the Stormers by 1 point. Bulls defeated by Lyon by 1 point. This one, if the Stormers concede a try, the Bulls will either be down by 1 or ahead by 1 if the conversion goes over and the Bulls have got themselves a scrum penalty. And Mornay Smith fired up at the moment. That's going to be up against Alistair Vermaak. And now it's sweating time, says Chloe in there as well. Chris Smith now lining up this one towards the corner. Now, of course, depending on if the Bulls can score, what also matters is where they score the try. They want to make the kick as easy as possible for Chris Smith. He's only recently made his way onto the field, got that one over a bit earlier on, but both sides have been penalised over 10 times throughout this game. 12 against the Stormers, 11 against the Bulls. So actually some pretty decent discipline from the Bulls in the second half, only conceding I believe it is the 3 penalties compared to the Stormers' 5. Now nicely claimed by the Bulls, and the rolling maul is looking strong. Knee went down there though for the Bulls player, so I feel like that would have been possible penalty, but instead the penalty advantage does go to the Bulls for the Stormers sacking that Stormers line out. Amateur predictions are always very close to that. Thanks for your commentary, says Frederick. No worries at all. And that is going back for the penalty now in favour of the Bulls. 21 side entry is what they have got him for there. Commentators have just asked, it's not coming down to a last minute kick, is it? But it could. The line out chance now. Chris Smith not that happy with this kick towards the touchline. I think he might be about 7 or 8 metres out from the line rather than the 5. So late sack and 21 from the side is what they've just said. Just tuned in. One of the guests at the barn in Wellington just informed me the Stormers in the lead. Hope you're all well, says Bruce. And the Stormers, they have now been able to turn over the line out. Unfortunately, misthrown. That was forward, though, from the Stormers. So they are going back now for another scrum in favour of the Bulls. Oh, hang on. The throw is not straight. Then it was a forward pass. So because of it, the Stormers will be the side who get themselves the ball. Yeah, not straight. That was well and truly wonky. Yeah, they've said first infringement, not straight. It's there to be taken by the Bulls, but they weren't able to. Now the Stormers have a choice of a scrum or, I believe, a free kick. So they've decided to go for the scrum with only 3 minutes remaining on the clock now. And Kura getting a little bit of attention to his calf. Looks like he is going to be all right to continue this match, though, for the final few moments. Look at there, yes, the throw a bit wonky, says Spider Mech. And they think it's all over, says Cool Story Bro. I don't think anyone does. I think that at this stage with 3 minutes remaining, still a lot can happen, because the only thing that would really help the Stormers secure the victory here is a penalty off this scrum. If they just win the scrum, they'll more than likely have to kick this ball into touch, and then the Bulls do get another attacking opportunity. But the Stormers can get that penalty, that at least uses up, I would say, another maybe 1.5 to 2 minutes of the time left in this match, which makes it a lot more challenging for the Bulls. It's gone straight down in the front rows. Penalty to the Stormers. That is exactly what they were after. I'm Mornay Smith's side, and Jan Hendrik Wessels doesn't quite get it right. That is why they left Ache van der Merwe out there on the field for so long. Unfortunately, the momentum has shifted since he has made his way from the field. They have missed the line out. They have given away a scrum penalty. This game is far from over, says Spider-Man. Don't be surprised if these two teams are in the final again, says Johan. I mean, I would be a little bit, only because of where they are currently ranked, theoretically, but like the Bulls could still have a home final on the cards. We could see this rematch at Loftus, possibly. And Birchwell has set the Stormers there. And now the line out, 2 minutes remaining on the clock and 6 points difference between these two sides. Nicely claimed by the Stormers, who now look for the rolling maul. That was Connor Evans, who was able to take it nicely. Bulls defending well. They've been told to use it once, and Nkura will now put the ball high. For a man that's not from South Africa, you pronounce the names and the surnames of the players correctly. Says Dylan, we've spent a lot of time practicing the names of a lot of these players. Knocked on from Ambrose Papia. Counter-attack now for the Stormers. Passed out wide to Paul de Vet. This would be to take away the bonus point that the Bulls currently have. It would be a massive confidence booster as well for the Stormers to win by a big margin. Ruben van Heeren protecting the ball nicely. I wonder if a drop... Oh, that's the wrong choice. I don't know why, but Nkura decided to try and be fancy. They'll go back for the original knock-on, and now it's going to be the scrum feed for the Bulls again. Yeah, I don't know why Nkura decided, rather than just doing what they had been doing, why he'd try and do a little flick pass on the inside. Miscommunication. I mean, Hudson-Berg wanted it, to be fair to him, but was it the right play, or has it just given the Bulls another chance of getting back into this match? Great stuff, player. Says Dylan. That sounds good at Loftus. But Diamani does get the player of the match. Even with that penalty he gave away a little bit ago, he has still been a standout for the way that the Stormers have played throughout this contest. He's done brilliantly, mainly because I know a lot of people wanted to see Ivan Ruiz as the man at 8. With his injury, it meant that Diamani gets that chance, and he has well and truly lived up to those expectations. Although now he's being taken off the field for the remaining 45 seconds. Go the Stormers, says Bruce. And Stormers didn't have their senior players till now. They'll win more games now, guys. Coming back from injury too, says Laban. Now Morabe onto the field. A little bit of an early push there from the Bulls. Very messy scrums. It's the best way of describing it. Neither side really getting that momentum, and instead just kind of flip-flopping when it comes to scrum time. But 45 seconds is still on the clock. So the Bulls have to try and attack. They cannot afford to kick the ball away. They cannot afford to give the ball back to the Stormers. If they do either of those two things, they lose this game. It is as simple as that. And the ball is available. Now only 10 metres out from the line. David Kriel runs it straight at the opposition. Now Ambrose Papia looking for his next pass. But the Stormers' defence tackling at 85% throughout this game, maybe even higher. Taking the second half into equation. Mornay Smith taken down again. Papia going to the front line. The big forwards slab it. Having the carry. Chris Smith back to Villy LaRue. Short pop pass. Up to Kane and Moody. They've got a long, long way to go if they want to win this match. They're only 10 metres out from their line. And Guamedi now, the man with the carry. Ball available for Ambrose Papia. The siren sounds. All the Stormers need is a turnover. They cannot afford to give away a penalty here. Ambrose Papia again goes across to Matanzima. I think the Stormers will know at this point. They just have to wait for the error to come from the Bulls. Papia looked, he's looking in behind as if he wanted to kick it. It is not the choice though. Even though they're still only 10 metres out from the line, they cannot afford to do so. They have to keep possession, or else if they don't retain that kick, the Stormers are taking the ball straight back. They are up to 10 phases, and they are now only 4 metres out from their own try line. Going off to the left-hand side, skip pass, and the space opens up inside ball. They move up to the 22. That is some good metres made by the VODACOM Bulls now. Ambrose Papia. Chris Smith tries the cross kick. Space on the outside. It will sit up for the Stormers defence in Lillian Zas, who gets his offload away. Ruan now boots it into touch, and that's the end of the game. Chris Smith did not get the memo. And keep the bonus point and concede. Says cool story, bro. And Bulls streaks and longest few seconds, says Bernito there. And also we're good there. Come on the Stormers, or come on win Stormers, says Vernon in there. And they have done just that by the 6 points. They have pulled off the victory. And game over, says Spider Max. So, the way that it sits now is the Stormers, they will move from 10th on the overall table. They move all the way up to 6th. And Stormers, yao leka ding, says JP. But looking at the table, this was before this match. So the Bulls, they will move up to 26. They do get themselves the bonus point for being within the 7 points. The Stormers, they will move up to 22 points on the table. So as you can see, with that points differential, they go right up to here, 6th place. And they've still got another game next week where they will be taking on none other than the Sharks. It should be an entertaining one for New Year's Day here in New Zealand. It will be 2 days from New Year's Day for you guys in South Africa. But 26-20, a close one. Chris Smith is from Cape Town. It's hard as always at the Stormers. And who was man of the match? It was Diamani. Managed to get himself man of the match. Made 13 tackles. Had a couple crucial turnovers throughout the game as well. Great home win for the Stormers, says Mario. Merry Christmas to all, says Arthur. And also, yeah, all happy holidays, says it was there from Miminia. They're just showing there the tackles made. Stormers made 161 tackles compared to the 77 of the Bulls. So it just shows that their defence at times was just immovable, you'd have to argue. 39% possession, though, for the Stormers. They did lack the ball. Perhaps if they had added a little bit more, they could have tried to extend that lead, but they will be more than happy to walk away with those 4 points on offer. 26 points to 20. Pretty close, about how we expected it to be in terms of the margin. I mean, I said that it could be split by 1 point. The Bulls had scored one more try, it would have been, but still 6 points, a close game for this matchup. Damien Williams having a bit of a chat there with Ambrose Papia after the match is finished. But, of course, we have still got a few more games taking place before the end of the year. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in. I will mention this is our last live stream that we have got before Christmas. So I do want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, although we should see you by then. But yeah, be sure to enjoy your Christmas. We will be back straight afterwards. Boxing Day here in New Zealand, the 26th of December. We're back into the action and plenty more rugby, cricket, sporting in general coming up on the Kiwi Lads channel. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all for the next one.